priority.
It's time for Alan Stiles and Chris Watkins.
Yes. On a Tuesday, Stiles and Watkins. From now till 2, we talk Kings, we talk NFL playoffs. And you know what? There's no murmurs here. There's no rumors. There's no sources. We talk about what happens on the court. And we'll get into that a little bit more. But you send all these people around in a circle. Pascal Siakam said this. He said that. And we're right back where what we knew months ago, that he was going to test out free agency. But because of content and everybody has to have a take, even if it's not a take, there are conversations about things we already knew, just repackaged. You know, Chris, you have a sibling. You ever give your sibling, when you were younger, a present that's just
No, it's already no.
No. Okay, fair enough. But I would do this. I would mess around with my little sister where I would take something from her room and have my mom wrap it and then give it back to her on Christmas. That's what some of these people are doing out here. Well, Pascal, he said this, okay? When in reality, you're repackaging it as if it's something that Pascal only said here. We don't know, because #sources, but they only said this. And then it comes out that we're exactly where we were 2 months ago. Chris Watkins, myself, yes, we're going to continue to talk about trades, and we joke, and we love the trade machine, but we're going to talk about what happens on the court. Because a lot of people want to walk around and act like they know things or they've heard things, and I'm not saying whether they do or not. All I'm saying is Alan Stiles, who currently doesn't have any sources, got the same information that somebody with #sources had. I had to get that out. We got more to go on that. Chris Watkins, how you doing?
Pretty good. Yeah, nice to have the nice little extended weekend. Nice that the Kings, I guess, again, we'll talk about it, but I'm glad that even though it was a heartbreaker on Sunday, I'm glad that it was at least a close game, because that Friday game against the Sixers was definitely up there with one of the most unwatchable basketball games I've seen in a really long time.
It's bad.
And, we got some blowouts in football, but we got one good game and just tons of storylines to follow from it. And we know the Niners opponent now. So I guess all in all, feeling pretty decent, and hoping the Kings can get the result tonight, because tonight we see the Suns' big three in action for the first time. So excited to see how that goes.
That score is probably going to be 160 to 150.
Yeah, definitely. It's going to be high.
Zero defense will be played. And hopefully the Kevin Huerter that we saw show up against the Bucks shows up.
Man.
I was watching Kevin Huerter shoot, and obviously you've watched him for longer than I have. But the hitch that he has had, where he kind of stops at the top of his jump shot, it felt like somebody said something when I posted it, and I said, it looks like his hitch is gone. And somebody said, that's the problem with Kevin Huerter. He's had about 3 different looking jump shots this season. Would you agree with that?
I don't think so. I think Kevin takes a lot of difficult angled shots, and I think that leads to some different releases. But I think at the end of the day, the thing, because and I heard, shout out our guys Brendan and Frankie hosting the show yesterday. We both hopped on as they did a nice little MLK special. Brendan said yesterday, the thing that doesn't get talked about enough when it comes to Kevin Huerter is he sprints all the time on the offensive end. So when he's usually shooting, it's usually from a full sprint to him receiving the handoff, taking 2 steps, and then trying to almost square his shoulders in the middle of the air. And I think a lot of the time that momentum can lead to a lot of shifting of his body, and it throws off his timing. So it's a bit of an excuse, but I don't think his shot's been different. I just think he's had to take some weird angles and is just trying to kind of get his body back on center.
Yeah, that's fair enough. So we'll talk about the game coming up tonight, and can the Kings get it done? Obviously, we have to talk. There's nothing to talk about in Philly. I was ready to buy a cheesesteak.
Yeah.
I was ready to troll my friends and eat a cheesesteak on social media.
You're going to have to listen to the 2 to 6 show to get some Eagles talk.
Yeah, no, you definitely, Draper, who knows if Draper is going to call in sick or what the situation is.
I think he's still on the road, so he might have a built-in excuse.
I think
they come home tomorrow. So
you're going to have to get that action, and it is the NFC least, as a lot of people have dubbed. They need to be relegated. They should be.
Is bad.
That's bad.
It's bad. The fact that the NFC South and the AFC South, for that matter,
Right.
are still in the playoffs,
Yeah.
and you have both of the NFC East teams out, that's crazy. I mean, it's absolutely nuts. The fall of this Eagles team needs to be documented more. I don't understand how a team can go. What, were they 10-1? 10-1 at one point, and then to just completely. I don't think I've ever seen a team completely collapse like this. This is a full-blown rotting from that Chiefs win on, really. And, Niners fans can take credit if they want and say the Niners broke them. But really, it was after Nick Sirianni yelled at all those Chiefs fans saying, I'm tired of hearing from y'all, or whatever he yelled at that crowd. Ever since then, this Eagles team has not been the same. And the Cowboys, I mean, that's a whole different story. That's not even like the Eagles were the frauds. There were signs of fraudulent behavior with the Eagles.
Right.
The Cowboys just straight choked. They straight up didn't show up. And there was a point in that game where, I had to stop for a second. I was like, we all need to take a second here and collectively keep this man Dak Prescott in our thoughts and prayers, because you cannot be the franchise quarterback for that franchise and put together that performance and not just get absolutely blasted for the next 48 hours. So good luck, Dak. I pray for your mentions, and I just hope everything's good and your area is safe, because I know Cowboys fans are not happy today.
No, they're taking some solace in the Eagles not showing up either.
Right, I guess.
But yeah, I mean, look, it's sour grapes, if you will. I don't know what the Cowboys do now. And Jordan, I mean, I
can you move on from seriously, do you fire McCarthy? Do you let Dak go? Is it one of the other?
All of the above. Dak Prescott will get a job somewhere for sure.
Oh,
1,000%, I just think it's not about Dak not being a good QB. He was in MVP talks, right? Same with Jalen Hurts. It's a long season, but it is the definition of insanity. Crazy. You can't run this back. You can't continue to do the same thing. But Jordan, I mean,
shout out Jordan Love.
I think the thing about Jordan Love is that we all thought the Cowboys. I thought the Cowboys would win, but we know who the Cowboys are, and this version of the Cowboys. So I need to see Jordan Love. You don't even have to beat the Niners, but if you look even close to what you look like against the Cowboys, okay, the Packers got some action.
Scary.
But I think that's why I'm not on the Jordan Love bandwagon yet. I want to see what they do. Now, yes, the Cowboys defense was, and it was very bizarre. With Dan Quinn, he's still gonna get interviews, but
we just had Brandon on the other day, Brandon Gustafson of Seattle Sports. He was saying Dan Quinn was his pick to be the Seahawks next coach. He's gonna be available. Let me tell you.
Yeah, he's gonna get the opportunity. This whole time you're playing man, and they said it on the broadcast. They decided to go zone, so they were just finding Dobbs just very easily. So you got to think, okay, Jordan Love, the same way we say about Brock Purdy, you got to make the throws.
Yeah.
And Jordan Love, he does make things look easy. And I've never been in the camp of sit behind a guy. Hey, if Patrick Mahomes didn't sit behind Alex Smith, would he not look like this? But you can definitely see that Jordan Love was taking notes. Some of those throws from Aaron Rodgers that aren't great. You don't tell your kids to throw the football like that, off platform, things like that. But it looked a lot like Aaron Rodgers. So I am very, very, very intrigued in this game. I hope it's a good game. Obviously, I want the Niners to win. I hope it's a good game. Ultimately, I think the Niners take care of business.
Yeah, I mean, even though the Packers did put together a great performance, this Niners team is a different level than even the Cowboys, and we've known that. I mean, there's definitely levels to this, and the Niners are the tippy top floor. So even if Jordan Love does have a great game, and that defense, shout out the Packers defense, really played incredible against the Cowboys, I don't think that they're going to be ready for the challenge that is the Niners. It's just too much. And the Niners also have a much better defense than the Cowboys as well. So it'll be interesting to see if Jordan Love can get into the same kind of rhythm that he was able to get in that Cowboys game. I've watched Jordan Love from afar this season, though I've definitely tuned into a good helping of their games being in the NFC North. he's definitely looked better. Like this is a little bit like the last month of the season. He's really been a lot tighter as a quarterback, and you look at his numbers, and the numbers are there. I think he has 26 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. He has a really good touchdown interception ratio. So this isn't abnormal, but he definitely elevated his play last week or yesterday, or what was that, Saturday? I can't see it happening against this Niners team. And, you do still have, we were concerned about the McVay angle of this and how much McVay intel he has on Shanahan. Can't forget that Washington graphic that's shown. Matt LaFleur is one of those guys as well. So, to me, the same fears that you would have going against the McVay team, you should probably have some of those same fears going against the LaFleur-led team. But, again, I think that the Niners should be good enough to withstand all that.
Yeah, Jair Alexander going down, and we got to see where he's at. It just seems like, not that guy is always injured, but he's always dealing with something. Yeah. There's always something going on.
He was the one who ran on the field, wasn't he? Who did the coin toss? Wasn't that Jair Alexander?
That was him too. He had the 2 interceptions, so we'll see how he's feeling throughout the course of the season. Because ultimately, we got to get to a break here, but ultimately what I think is interesting, and I have not heard one person talk about this, is the fact that the Cowboys and that offense, they don't have a number 2 wide receiver.
No, absolutely.
That's what's so weird that I don't hear anybody talking about. Yeah. They move on from Schultz, they get Ferguson. Okay, they're tight ends. They always have a good tight end. You got CeeDee Lamb, and then who is your number 2? Brandon Cooks, who is just every year he doesn't do enough. And
Michael
you have Gallup, right? They've just never had a legit number 2. So I expect them to go out and do that. Now, who's going to be throwing them the football?
Right.
Is the question. Got to get to a break. When we get back, continuing to talk about NFL playoffs. Later in the show, we're, of course, going hardcore Kings and all of that jazz. Stiles Watkins, Sactown Sports.
Check out the Golf to Go Hour with Frank LaRosa every week on Sactown Sports. Get the latest on equipment, area courses, people who play the great game, and plenty of good conversations about golf. It's the Golf to Go Hour every week with Frank LaRosa on Sactown Sports. Golf to Go is brought to you by the Hagen Oaks Golf Super Shop, America's most awarded golf facility. Naturewood Home Furnishings, where it's all about choices and always about quality.
Yep, that trailer hitch and folding bed cover from Truck Smart makes road trips a breeze.
Right? I'm so much more organized on the job site since Truck Smart installed my truck rack and toolbox.
And they had it all in stock, so I just waited as they installed everything.
Take a look at this sweet Rhino truck lining. They sprayed it on.
Yeah, you win. That is sweet.
Truck Smart, truck and SUV accessories for on the road and the job site. Stop by one of our 2 locations in Rockland or Auburn. Trucksmart.com. Your truck's gonna love them.
For a precision-crafted performance, the decision is easy. A new Acura from Acura of Stockton. Get the driving experience you've been waiting for in a new Acura. Get the best selection and customer service you deserve from Acura of Stockton. Shop in person or use our online express store at AcuraofStockton.com. Acura of Stockton will buy your trade, even if you don't buy from us. Don't settle for less than precision-crafted performance of a new Acura from Acura of Stockton and AcuraofStockton.com.
Sactown Sports. Call or text at 916-339-1140.
A couple words that we have not said on this program in a long, long time as we talk about the Dallas Cowboys and the idea of moving on from Dak Prescott. But if you move on from Dak Prescott, then what is next? And there is a guy, and Chris even said there was a shot of the 2 of them together.
I think it was right after Dak's pick 6.
And you remember that Trey Lance is the 3rd string quarterback on the Dallas Cowboys. All the potential in the world. We still haven't seen a lot from him. He's rode pine a lot. But if you are going to move on from Dak Prescott, well, Jerry, did you really just draft or trade for Trey in case you face the Niners and to get some intel?
No
or
way.
do you think this kid can actually do some things? Because if you move on, you cannot move on from Dak Prescott and not give Trey an opportunity. Look, Sacramento area's finest, right? Maybe you bring in Jake Browning. You go Jake Browning, Trey Lance. I think the Cowboys fan base would lose it,
They sure
but
would.
you're stuck because, I mean, look, another guy, is he from Texas? I know he's from Texas, or maybe it was Oklahoma. I know he's from that area. Are they in the Kyler Murray sweepstakes, the Dallas Cowboys?
He's from Texas. He's from Texas. Like one of the best quarterbacks in Texas history.
All these records, are they in the Kyler Murray sweepstakes?
Absolutely.
What do you do? I don't know if you can afford to, if you're the Cowboys, unless you're just going to take a back seat. And look, I'm not going to talk about Jerry's age here, but I don't know if he has time.
He doesn't. Yeah. He doesn't want to wait.
I don't know if he has time to start fresh with Trey Lance to see if that's going to work or not. They got to trade for somebody, and I'm looking at Kyler Murray.
Yeah.
I don't think that you want Geno Smith in Dallas. They are in a bit of a terrible position.
Yeah.
And I don't know what type of draft capital they have. I wouldn't put it past Jerry if he thinks one of these guys can come in quickly and trying to find a way. I'm not saying it's even possible.
Yeah.
But trying to find a way into the Caleb Williams sweepstakes. Because I think that's where they're at. If they're gonna go rookie, go a rookie that you feel like is gonna be ready to go.
Yeah.
But again, the last rookie that was a sure thing. He was going to be the first pick in the draft ever since he stepped foot on campus at Clemson, Trevor Lawrence.
Yep.
After all that, I'm going Karl Anthony Towns here. After all that, he really doesn't look like all that. He looks okay. He looks good.
But not enough to, like you're saying, if you're going to be shipping off your future, if you're sending, all your future picks off to move up in a draft to go get that, that's Trevor Lawrence. You'd ideally want somebody, I mean, even though Trevor's been fine, you'd like somebody who's like head and shoulders clearly an incredible quarterback. And yeah, I mean, it's risky. I don't know. I mean, I definitely think this is why people say Dak is in that Kirk Cousins conversation. It's just, he's good. He's really good. And you could do way worse than Dak. That's the thing. You can't just move on from him and say, we'll bring in Derek Carr and have similar production and pay him way less. No, Dak is a good quarterback who definitely is top 10 and can, sometimes touch that top 5. Like you said, he was in the MVP conversation for a good portion of this year, but it just feels like in a gotta have it game, or more specifically in these playoff situations where you have to have good performances, ends up coming up short when you really feel like, okay, now is a prove it. And the Packers weren't even a prove-it game. It's not even like Dak got to the stage where it was, okay, here's a real career-defining game for Dak Prescott. He didn't even let himself get into that kind of situation. So, I don't know. It's really tough because it's going to take a lot of convincing to move on from Dak Prescott, too, unless you have, like you're saying, another for sure talented guy that's coming in. And you're going to have to do the risk management of, okay, we ship off Dak and bring in Kyler. Are those assets that, we have to give up to get Kyler worth how much better he's going to make us? Or are we just going to end up being a different version of the same thing?
And look, nobody wants to tank, right? I think it's the best to tank in football because that's the one, that's the sport you're not dealing with lottery and ping pong balls. Right. If you stink, you stink. And I'm looking here, and the reason I say that is because if you're the Arizona Cardinals, and you haven't really been doing too much, right? Is it possible you just do a trade and you bring in Dak and how much of a haul you could get for your pick in the draft, and you decide not to go in the QB direction and you just do a straight swap? You have some pieces, you have some offensive weapons, right? Maybe you do. You are winning games with your boy, right? Out there in Minnesota now. So is it possible that you think about this in a different way? You know how much that pick is worth, and instead of going full tank mode, you bring in Dak Prescott. The lights in Arizona are a little bit different than the lights in Dallas. You trade your pick for and just really improve your team all around, and you do that instead of taking a chance, because it is still a chance, a gamble.
Yeah, it probably depends on how much the Cowboys give, because I don't know if the Cardinals would feel better about this. Obviously, I mean, the Cowboys would be getting a younger quarterback, and I don't know. Kyler and Dak are probably near the same tier, but that's not quite like a Stafford for Goff, where like Stafford is clearly in this tier 2 and Goff is in a tier 4. Those guys are kind of similar, so I don't know if
at least
Arizona
upside, though. I just don't know.
I feel
what
like
the
Kyler
Cowboys
has
can...
more upside.
No, yeah.
So why would Arizona do it? Would be my question.
Sure, Arizona would do it because Dak has shown that with weapons he can make some things
Maybe he's
happen.
a better leader too.
He's a better right.
Yeah.
He is.
People say Dak's command at the line of scrimmage is as close to Peyton Manning as you're going to get. So I mean, if you're an organization that needs some organization, it sounds like Dak would be.
That's what I'm
route.
thinking. Dak is not a bad quarterback, right? And if you're Arizona and you want to take a chance on one of
got
these,
some health issues too. Tiny
right.
guy.
It's a gamble on both sides.
Sure.
I think it's a bit safer for the Cardinals because
Sure.
now that you can depend on Dak. Is he perfect? No.
Yeah.
But you're the Arizona Cardinals, right? And do you really trust?
Also, Jerry's desperate, so I would say, hey, give me Dak and some high picks, like second round pick, maybe a third round pick
give us
too.
Dak and Trey Lance. They just a package deal. They go everywhere together.
Why not?
and you just figure it out from there. I just can't see the Cowboys going in the direction of a Kirk Cousins, especially after an Achilles.
No,
right? And or dare I say, I know he's also coming off an Achilles. Does Jerry's running out of time?
Aaron?
Does he just go for the home run? Aaron, give me 1 year. Let's see if we can make this pop.
I think anything's possible. I really do think. It wouldn't surprise me if, I could see there's a universe out there where next year the Dallas Cowboys are running out on their sideline. Sure, why not? We'll say Aaron Rodgers and Bill Belichick. I don't think anything is out of the question. I think, like you said, I think Jerry's desperate enough to get one more Super Bowl before he calls it quits, whatever that looks like. And I could see him saying, hey, Bill, the greatest head coach of all time's out there. One of the best quarterbacks we've ever seen is out there at a discounted rate. And maybe New York is sick of him already with all the hubbub he's causing. Maybe I could definitely see it. It wouldn't surprise me if Mike Vrabel's their coach. I mean, I think something's got to change though between the court. I think the coach is the more likely option, but there's no way next year that the Cowboys can run out both Dak Prescott and Mike McCarthy and feel good about their chances of doing anything different than what we've seen them do the last 3 years.
Can't do it. And, I mean, is this about Jerry Jones? Is it time for Jerry Jones to look in the mirror and say, okay, I can hey, Belichick, I'm not going to do what I've been doing. I'm going to take a step back. How bad do you want the ring, Jerry? Because you can't keep doing it like this. Nope. Clearly, it's not working. You can't keep hiring puppets and saying, hey, you're just the mouthpiece for me. It's not working, Jerry. And you would probably have another Super Bowl if you didn't run Jimmy Johnson out of town.
Yep.
So this is what you get. I'm looking here. Some of the other options. The Giants have the 6th pick in the draft. Do you look at a Daniel Jones? Are you interested in Daniel Jones? I'm not.
I'm good.
But maybe somebody is. The Chargers. They got the 5th pick. Like I said, Arizona, the 4th pick. And, enough people are talking about this as well. The Patriots have the 3rd pick in the draft. Do not let I know Belichick is out now, which is interesting because don't let Caleb Williams get to the Patriots. I know Belichick's not there, so who are the Patriots now? Sure. But I am really, really excited for this offseason. There's going to be a lot of dancing and shuffling things around. Getting to a break when we get back, opening up the phone lines. If you want to be a part of the conversation, getting into some Kings in a little bit as well. Chris Biederman at 11 o'clock. That'll kick off our Kings talk. Yeah, the Niners should probably get it done. We'll tell you who else is in the playoff, the quarterbacks, and if not now, then when. Stiles and Watkins, Sactown Sports.
The 49ers earned the NFC's top seed.
On the first play of the game, CMC Dynamite!
Join all of our shows. The Carmichael Dave Show with Jason Ross, Stiles, and Watkins. And the Drive Guys as they follow their quest for a 6th Super Bowl title.
Pressured right away by Young and sacked by Eric Armstead.
Sactown Sports is your home for San Francisco 49ers football.
San Francisco!
Don't miss out on New Year's savings at Folsom Lake Kia. Low prices and payments on your favorite new Kia models. Go see my friends at Folsom Lake Kia right here in Sacramento for over 25 years or folsomlakekia.com.
Capital Casino, conveniently located on 411 North 16th Street in downtown Sacramento.
Progressive presents 10 things on a plumber's to-do list that are harder than getting a small business insurance quote. Waking up for 5 a.m. plumbing disasters, finding out why water is pouring from the ceiling while telling a customer to leave the room, replacing a pipe in a home from the 1800s, then dealing with invoices or your awkward apprentice or that really weird smell, and then there's breathing and eating, and of course, clogs. But the easiest thing on any small business owner's to-do list? Seeing if you could save on the business insurance that's right for you. Get a quote in as little as 6 minutes at ProgressiveCommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company. Coverage provided and serviced by affiliated and third-party insurers.
O'Reilly! Did you know 1 in 4 car batteries is weak and needs to be replaced? O'Reilly Auto Parts will test your battery for free. If your battery needs to be replaced, our professional parts people can help you find the right Superstart battery for your vehicle and budget. Don't wait. Get your battery tested for free today at your local O'Reilly Auto Parts.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Have you Googled yourself lately? Are there negative posts from an ex-employee or from a former client? Maybe an outdated news article, or sensitive personal information about your family. Search engines don't always get it right. For right or wrong, it's your reputation on the line. That's where Reputation Defender by Norton comes in. One of the most trusted names in online reputation repair. Reputation Defender has been fixing people's search results for over 15 years. Their cutting-edge approaches help you to wipe away unwanted information in your search results. They also promote the good stuff, so that it rises to the top, helping you put your best foot forward. Your good name is too valuable to leave to the whims of a Google algorithm. Take control with Reputation Defender. You can start by getting your free reputation report card at reputationdefender.com or call 800-401-6681 to speak to an expert. That's 800-401-6681.
Live and local. Live and local. This is Sactown Sports.
We're back. The Sac Chat, Stiles and Watkins, taking you up to 2 p.m. The Sac Chat is our YouTube chat. If you are driving right now and you are almost home and you want to continue to be a part of the show, make sure you hop in. It's growing each and every day, and we love our Sac Chatters. Shout out to the text line and the call line as well, 916-339-1140. All guests and callers join us from the Folsom Lake Honda hotline. Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop. The Sac Chat is trying to figure out how to fix the Kings' free throw woes. Now, De'Aaron Fox actually went 6 of 7. The one he missed was at a terrible time.
Yep.
But he did go 6 of 7 on, what was that, Sunday? That was Sunday.
Yeah.
On Sunday. Malik Monk with 2 awful misses at the end of the game. And that was insane to me. That second miss, Chris Watkins, on the side of the rim, brother, are you okay?
No, he's not. I don't know.
Are you okay? Are the Kings okay?
That's a fair question.
Somebody asked in the Sac Chat, what can they do? I have no clue. I have no clue.
I've got no answer for you. I mean, especially the fact it was Malik Monk who went 6 of 10, by the way, on Sunday. He missed 4 of the Kings' 5 free throws. Like you said, De'Aaron missed the other one. Malik shot just under 90% from the free throw line last year.
He's at 84, high 84 this year.
Did you check that today? Because I checked on Sunday, and he was at 87%. So that tells you that he dropped 3 percentiles by missing those 4 free throws, which should tell you how absolutely out of character that moment was. I have no idea how they can get better. I joked yesterday with Brendan and Frankie about it. I haven't been able to go to as many practices this year as I did last year for the Kings because we have the show at about the same time they have practice. But the few practices I've been able to make this year, and I would say probably 75 to 80% of the practices we went to last year, people would think we get the inside track on all that stuff. Quite literally the only thing that we see, again, about 80 to 85% of the time when us as media go to Kings practice is them shooting free throws. They do this drill where they'll just call someone out, say, Malik, come up to the free throw line, shoot 2 free throws. If you miss one, the entire team runs down to the other side of the floor.
They're doing
this
mid-season.
That's all they do. This is the only thing the Kings do. Whenever you see the Brendan, Frankie, Sean Cunningham, anyone post videos at practice, just know 10 minutes before that video was posted, they probably watched the team taking free throws. So I don't know what to tell you because they actually practice free throws in about as good of a pressure environment as you can simulate in a practice. And I'll tell you what, they miss them in practice too, all the time.
That's bad.
All the time.
Well, that's why they're so
just bad
well-conditioned.
free throw shooting team.
That's why they're so well-conditioned.
Absolutely.
Because they keep clanking free throws, and they got to get on the line like Coach Carter.
Oh, well, I'll have Brendan and Frankie tell you a story about this summer. At training camp this year, there was a time where they told me they were legitimately in there for 10 to 20 minutes just waiting for them to finish that drill because they were just finish anybody on the team, make 2 free throws in a row, and we'll break it down. It'll be the end of practice. Again, I don't want to speak for Brendan and Frankie. We'll have them tell it on Wednesday, but they pretty much said Mike Brown went down the line and had to go back to the front of the line before they ended up ending that drill. So I think it's just kind of this team does not have good free throw shooters. Not that helps anybody feel better about the situation, but I think they're just built like that.
Is it crazy to think that
someone's got to be the worst, I guess?
Right. Yeah. Well, and it's the Kings. Is it crazy to think that in looking, if you're Monty McNair, is it crazy to think that you have to keep that? Is that in your thought process at all? How does this guy shoot free throws? I know it sounds crazy, but
it's definitely, it feels like a plus. Like it feels like something where it's like it's an added. I don't think it's going to be what Monty's looking for on the trade block, but at the same time,
in the league.
It adds your value to this team for sure.
They're on the line. Yeah. They cannot stop running like Coach Carter. Our fear is not that we are inadequate. It's that we can't make a free throw when it matters or when it doesn't matter. It doesn't make a difference. Okay. Now, like you said, I looked up 84.9% Malik Monk. That's got to be the highest on the team out of anybody who takes anything close to that amount.
I would assume.
That is the one guy you want. Because, Chris, I'll be honest with you. The Kings got lucky right there. I thought for sure Sabonis was going to get fouled at one point, and he was going to have to shoot the free throws. And I'm thinking, okay, well, he's definitely going to miss at least one. They got Malik. The Bucks tried to give the game away.
Malik is still the best free throw shooter on
He's got to be.
Even Jordan Ford is shooting 1,000%, but I think he's taken one free throw.
They tried to give the game away. Here, please. And we'll talk later. Do the Kings actually have a signature win? Here, please, Kings. Here's your signature win. Please take it. And they just refuse. Let's get out to Doug, who wants to talk about the free throws. Doug, should they go Rick Barry? Should they go underhand? Doug, help us. What should the Kings do? You're on Stiles and Watkins. What you got?
Good morning, gentlemen. I love it because every day you guys just bring it, and you're hitting on the hot subjects and the tough ones to talk about, and you guys are trying to come up with a resolution to be able to stay in our local teams and whatever you guys can do to motivate and excite everybody. So I'm glad I get to be part of the conversation. I have is, well, which one of you said, I don't know what to do? Who was that?
Both of us. I think everybody.
Yeah. Me.
Oh, okay. All right. So this is me. Now, you guys say you guys go to the practices and stuff, and you watch them, and you see how they go in and whatever routines that they go through based on the input that Mike Brown gets from, I assume, his assistants and whoever's doing their shooting drills, whoever's their shooting coach. And I'm wondering, it's like, well, you look at the numbers and you go, well, you got to do something that's going to change it for the better. Well, if you don't see it's getting better, then you better try something else. I mean, they have to. I mean, I'll tell you what. This may not make a big deal to anybody, but it's important to me. I've been around basketball my whole life. I've been a high school coach for many years, and I have a technique that I use and stuff, and I am able to improve players just by going in and say, hey, if you just listen to what I say and you try what I say, can't be any worse than what you're doing. So I would offer my services, and I'll take 2 season tickets for next year.
There you go.
I'll come over, and I'll show you how to do it.
That's what I'm talking about, Doug. Know your worth, Doug.
Thank you, Doug. Great call.
Hey, I'm not done.
Okay.
Can I keep going? So this is, as I'm watching the game, and I always talk about free throws at the end, and I count them while the game's going on, how many we miss. But the thing that I've learned over the years is it's not how many you make, it's when you make them. You can make your first 20, but the last 2 minutes of the game, and then you brick, and then what happens? Well, then you lose the game, and that's what we did. So, again, love your show, guys. Have a great call the rest of the day, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thanks for the call, Doug. Thanks for the call, Doug.
I'm not done.
I'm not done. I'm not finished. You know what, though? My argument is, and it's a good point, because I was gonna say, hey, is it more between the ears than actually physically there's something wrong with their shots? But if you're telling me that they're clanking at practice, that means it's not in between the ears. That means there's something wrong. Yeah. Right. So whatever you're doing, if you are a guy who, this was me back in my day, I would go spin in the left hand, of course, 3 bounces, 1, 2, 3, and I would always leave my shot short. So I would bend the knees to remind myself, then I'd shoot. But if I'm a 50% free throw shooter or 70%, whatever is bad for my position, maybe I should change it up.
Right.
Maybe I should do something different. And I feel bad coming out Malik because he is shooting 84.9%. But just like Doug said, it's not about how much you make. It's about when you make them. And Katie on the broadcast said, well, the great thing about, and we love Katie. She's on these airwaves all the time with our guy, Kyle Draper. Well, the good thing about Malik is he's going to flush this. He's not going to remember this. And I know how she meant it, the context of, hey, move forward, you're going to get it done. But maybe Malik shouldn't forget it. Maybe the Kings shouldn't forget it because they keep on doing the same thing. Maybe they should remember. I'm seeing in the Sac chat, hey, Chris, they said that, they run after they miss. Maybe they should do that after games too. They already do it about high school with these rotations anyway, Coach Mike Brown. Just go full. Hey, guys, what you getting dressed for? What you getting dressed for?
We got laps to run, boys.
In baseball, we had a thing. We had a big hill, right? And anytime we lost a game, we would have to run hills based on how many runs we lost by. So if we got blasted, we up that hill 10 times. Yeah. And I know it sounds ridiculous, and obviously they're not going to do it. But Chris, I'm searching here because you're not going to win a playoff series who is the worst free throw shooting team. This is somebody's homework.
Looked this up at once.
Not to win it though. Yeah. Not to win it. If you come into the playoffs, first of all, I don't know how many teams.
I think when we looked it up, it was the 03 Pistons.
It was the 03 Pistons, but they won the whole thing. Yeah. How about just winning a series?
Yeah. That's gonna be.
But the 03 Pistons, I'm assuming they shot better than the Kings.
I don't know. Ben Wallace was out there 50%.
Clanking. Well, maybe it's possible.
It's possible, but you have to play defense at that point. I mean, if the Kings don't rebound well, with the exception of Sabonis, they don't defend and they don't hit free throws. Those are 3 major keys to winning basketball games. And if I could real quick offer up a solution, which we saw on Sunday. I mean, we saw the solution on Sunday. If you want to be better at free throws, you just have to take 15 seconds to shoot them.
Yes. Really focus up there.
It seemed to work for Giannis. I mean, Mike, this dude gets 2 dribbles. He gets an attempt. He gets to wave at his brother, do a handshake, and then he gets to shoot his free throws. Maybe the Kings are just taking them too quick. Maybe if we just read a book and then shot the free throws, maybe our free throw percentages would rise a bit. I don't know. I mean, it seems to work from Giannis because I've never seen anything like that before. So if we're talking about some solutions to problems that we just don't have, I mean, I can't believe that you could take 15 seconds on a free throw.
It needs to take longer.
And and the only reason why the NBA would hold him accountable is if the crowd counts to 10 seconds themselves, which is insane. So I'm kind of joking, but seriously, maybe just take more time. Use all of the time. That might throw off your rhythm, but oh my goodness, you can't get worse than you are now.
No, it's serious though. You might need to have a free throw specialist or somebody come in and talk to this team because the book is out and you're going to keep getting hacked.
You're going to lose games. Yeah.
You're going to keep getting hacked.
Especially in close situations. People will just foul you instead of allowing them to shoot the 3.
Yeah. And you know what? The Kings even know it. They don't want to go to that line. I'll never forget a couple games ago.
Honestly.
When I saw, we'll talk when we get back. We're going to talk about that last play. And obviously Coach Mike Brown was out, but I don't understand. We talked a little bit about this with the Sactown Sports Kings Insiders yesterday on their show. But I just don't understand how Dame gets that shot off.
Yeah.
I don't understand it. I
could understand it, but it is, looking back at the tape, especially, there's some basketball IQ moments that probably
one job, Chris,
could have helped that situation.
One job.
Yeah.
One guy.
Yeah.
Okay. Who else? Middleton wasn't playing. If Malik Beasley hits that three, cool.
Sure.
If Giannis...
But you can't give an open look, though. That's the only thing is you can't give an open. Sabonis could have doubled him because Brook Lopez was still at the half court line. We'll talk about it on the other side.
All right. Got to get to a break. Talking Kings. We were supposed to talk football, but Kings came up because, we are a show of the people, and the Sac Chat wanted to talk about free throws. So here we are talking free throws, but we will be talking NFL as well. Some Niners talk with the QBs left because it is crazy. But these free throws all show long. If you have an idea to help the Kings free throw shooting, we will read out the good ideas. If you have any ideas, we've already thought about going Rick Barry. Okay, we already had a caller offer their services to go in and help them shoot free throws. We are taking all thoughts and suggestions about the Kings and their free throw shooting. Stiles Watkins, Sactown Sports.
Last season, the Sacramento Kings gave us a little bit of everything. A Pacific Division type GM of the Year, Coach of the Year, Clutch Player of the Year, All-Stars and All-NBA performers. Plus, we got to light the beam.
Here's a steal by Fox, the breakaway. He's got the rip with the left hand.
What does this season have in store? Find out. Each and every Sacramento Kings game can be heard right here on your proud home of the Beam Team, Sactown Sports at SactownSports.com.
Group is not a law firm.
This story is called The Ugly Truth About Timeshare. If you think you've done your family a favor by buying a timeshare, you need my help. Hello, I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group. 10 years ago, I started helping folks cancel their timeshare. In the process, started what's now called the timeshare cancellation industry. The ugly truth is when you buy a timeshare, you can't tell me how much it's going to cost or when it's going to end. I recently helped a couple that had their maintenance fees go from $800 to $3,200 a year. They also received a $4,000 assessment for a hurricane that was over 1,000 miles away. Sound crazy? The crazy thing is this never ends. Call my office now. If we take you as a client, I guarantee we'll cancel your timeshare or you'll pay nothing.
Call for your free information kit. Call 800-462-3333. That's 800-462-3333. 800-462-3333.
Winter is coming. I know you know that, but are you prepared to keep your family warm all season long? At American Energy Heating and Air, their goal is to exceed your expectations of the heating and air industry by valuing the customer experience and making your home comfort system as efficient as possible for the most value. So book your $49 furnace tune-up and safety inspection today. Prevent dangerous gas leaks. Extend the life of that furnace and save on your energy bills. And here's the guarantee. This isn't a sales call. They're not getting in the door so they can try to sell you a bunch of stuff. No, they're just going to do what they say they're going to do. Call today to schedule an appointment at 916-520-9990 or go to AmericanEnergyAir.com. Been serving the greater Sacramento area since 1981. A+ Better Business Bureau rating. Get your $49 furnace tune-up and safety inspection today. 916-520-9990. American Energy, making the uncomfortable comfortable.
Did you know there's dust floating around your home?
Really?
Yeah. Dust starts on hard surfaces like shelves and ceiling fans. And when you walk by, dust starts to move, compromising the quality of the air you and your family breathe.
So what do I do?
Get Swiffer Heavy Duty Duster. Swiffer Heavy Duty Duster is the fast and easy way to trap and lock dust.
Before it gets into the air.
Exactly. So you can just... Swiffer Heavy Duty Duster. Proud partner of the American Lung Association.
Wireless headphones. That'll be $200.
I'll use my Capital One Quicksilver card.
Now that's a hit. You used the Capital One Quicksilver card, which makes you the hero of every purchase. With Quicksilver, you earn unlimited 1.5% cash back on every purchase everywhere.
I wanted running music, but unlimited 1.5% cash back is pretty heroic.
Good instincts. Every hero needs a theme song. The Capital One Quicksilver card. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com for details.
It's time to buck up Sacramento. The professional bull riders are back. PBR Sacramento Wrangler Long Live Cowboys Classic will take over downtown's Golden One Center this February 2nd through 4th. 3 huge nights of edge-of-your-seat bucking, featuring some of the biggest bulls and toughest cowboys on the planet. Tickets are on sale now at Ticketmaster. Get your tickets for a weekend of non-stop bucking action this February 2nd through 4th.
I like daffodils, tulips, the big dinner plate dahlias. I loved being in the garden, but I wasn't going to be able to because I couldn't not only walk, but I couldn't really stand on my foot without being in pain. It was excruciating. So my husband said, let's go to the Good Feet store.
For over 20 years, we've helped people like Terry live the life they love without letting their feet get in the way.
This nice young man said, I think I can help you. He got the arch support and I was fitted. And I kept walking back and forth across the store. And I looked at my husband and burst into tears because it was the first time in a year that I have not had any pain in my foot. I have had no pain since the day I bought them. Now I can do whatever I want. There isn't any place on my property that doesn't have flowers blooming 365 days a year. I still can't believe it. My name is Terry, and that's my Good Feet story.
See what we can do for you with a free personalized arch support fitting at the Good Feet store.
For sore feet, aching back, knee, or hip pain, come to the Good Feet store in Sacramento, Roseville, or Vacaville.
California's largest Sportsman's Expo is back Thursday through Sunday at Cal Expo in Sacramento. Buy the latest gear, meet the experts, learn about fishing, hunting, boating, and off-roading. See Toyota's all-new Tacoma. This is the place to discover your next adventure, nearby or around the world. Your life outdoors at the International Sportsman's Expo, Thursday through Sunday at Cal Expo in Sacramento. More info at sportsexpos.com.
Now here's what I want you all to do for me.
Sactown Sports. Check us out on YouTube. Search Sactown Sports and subscribe.
You got Stiles, and you got Watkins, and you got Nate Littlefield, by the way. I haven't given a shout out to Nate yet behind the glass, doing his thing as always. And Chris doing some investigations. Turns out that the Kings could still do it if you count the bubble championship as a interesting.
All the Kings need is a global pandemic to split the season about 4 months into the future or whatever it was, and then maybe they have a chance. But yeah, I mean, as you were asking about some of the worst free throw shooting teams to actually have success in the playoffs, got me thinking, and so I did a nice little search of teams that have shot under 73%, which the Kings are at 73.3% right now, worse than the NBA.
C minus.
Really terrible. And I'm looking at the teams that have had most recent level of success. I mean, there's a lot of 500 teams, surprisingly enough. You have the 13-14 Lob City Clippers shot 73%, still won 57 games. And then you have, let's see here, the 15-16 Washington Wizards shot 73%, went 500. But yes, the 2019-2020 bubble Lakers shot 72.9% from the free throw line and finished 52-19 in that shortened season. And I'm trying to find exactly what they shot in the playoffs. I would definitely assume in the playoffs they didn't shoot that poorly. I can only get the individual numbers, so I'm still working
Rondo
on
probably
collection.
didn't help there.
Let's see here. If I'm just looking at their playoff numbers, I mean, Anthony Davis ended up shooting 83% from the line on 8 attempts, so that definitely helps. Even LeBron shot 72% on 7 free throws per game. So, I mean, those are really between the two of them, they took 15 free throws and shot somewhere near 77%. So, I mean, realistically, that's kind of like the Kings situation too, where Domantas Sabonis and De'Aaron take a vast majority of the free throws. And so really it's mainly about how well those two end up shooting in the postseason that's going to do it. So I guess if you're going to try and say that for the Kings, I would say De'Aaron's probably more likely to be near that 80%. Again, AD got up to 83%. And in the regular season, AD shot 84% actually. So he really, that's about as good as AD shoots. So kind of sounds like the Kings are screwed because at the end of the day, again, the two guys who take the most free throws don't shoot them well. So that's kind of a tough problem to get around.
Yeah, I don't know what they do to fix it. And I'm not kidding about the underhand thing. I mean, I'm honestly not. I know nobody would do it, but anything you can do because teams are going to continue to just hack you, and it's not going to get any better when you get to the playoffs because, that's why a lot of those, a lot of the prognosticators will say, well, who shoots free throws well? Because it is so important when you get to the line. Every point is important. in the playoffs. So we'll continue to talk Kings, getting back to some NFL. And Nate, I want to get your thoughts on this as well, because I don't know how many people saw this, and I guess I might be going get off my lawn here, but Tua did not have a great game.
Yeah.
Okay. Tua did not have a great game. I don't think Coach Mike McDaniel had a great game. Okay. And after the game, I don't know if you saw this video, but Tua is saying, good game to Patrick Mahomes.
Oh my gosh.
Okay. And Tua, right after the game, asks, you can see him mouth it. He asks for Patrick Mahomes' jersey.
Too,
Patrick Mahomes basically says no. Basically says, I'll mail you one, little buddy.
Yeah.
I'll mail you one. And I don't know if he ended up giving it.
I think the explanation behind it is that he was giving it to Tyreek.
Right.
Is that not what happened?
Yeah, that's not, I don't care.
Oh, okay.
Tua, what are you doing?
Oh, you're mad at Tua. Oh,
that is so bad to me.
Oh.
That is so bad. And I know, like I said, I'm probably going to get off my lawn here. I know people hate it with the NBA players, how they're so cool, cool with each other. And Giannis doesn't work out. He's different. He doesn't work out with people in the offseason. Honestly, that doesn't bother me. Working out with your peers and trying to get better, because I do think when these guys step on the court, they're about that action, right?
Absolutely.
Now, Draymond is clearly different when he plays LeBron than when he doesn't. But for the most part, I'm not really tripping off that. But Tua, you just lost. And it wasn't even a hard-fought game.
No.
I might even feel differently if it came down to one throw and Mahomes just went Mahomes and did his thing. Tua, are you a fan?
Big time.
Are you a fan, Tua? You need to worry about throwing those left-handed ducks in the cold, not get, hey, can I get your jersey? Hey, Mahomes, great game. Can I get your jersey, please? I'm so off that. That is a terrible look to me. You can't be my franchise QB doing soft stuff like that. I'm out. If I'm the Dolphins, that actually would tick me off more than the left-handed ducks. I'm going to be honest with you.
It's not great.
It's a bad
It's a cherry
look.
on top.
Am I tripping?
No, I don't think. I mean, maybe like you might care more than the average Joe, but like I think that you're totally, everything you said is
timing of it is terrible.
Because, and also like it's not fair, but quarterbacks are held to a different standard where it's like, dude, I need you, like, again, maybe it's my turn to be the get off my lawn guy, but I want you to be focused on the game. And like in the immediate aftermath of the game, I don't want you to be thinking, let me go give Pat his respect and, oh man, let me go ask for his jersey too. And I know the game had been decided for a while, but sit on it a little bit. Like, at least let it hurt. Like, I'm not saying you got to do now. I'm going to criticize you if you do the, hey, team camera guy, get a picture of me standing on the sideline as everybody's celebrating.
It would bother me less.
Oh, that's a great question. It would bother me less. It would bother me less because at the very least, it's like
you don't know the camera's there. If you legitimately
there's
are
at
just
least
like,
plausible deniability.
exactly.
Right?
But going up, it just reeks of.
You're focused. You're worried about the wrong.
That's
thing.
no dog.
You're just worried about the wrong thing in that moment. And yeah, it's. I have no problem with him giving Patrick Mahomes his respect. That's absolutely what you should do. But again, I don't know if right there and then is the time and place to say, hey, bro, like. And he's like yanking on his jersey. Like he tugs on the jersey just in case he can't hear him. He's like, yo, let me get this. And shout out Pat Mahomes, who, I mean, I'm sure he has to turn people down all the time for stuff, but he just kind of chuckled into his face and was like, bro, like this one, I already told Reek I would give this to him. But I got you. I'll send you something in the mail.
That's
I got
crazy.
You. That's crazy.
Doing that in a wild card game that wasn't even close is crazy.
That's crazy.
AFC Championship and it wasn't close? Okay. Wild card game and it was close? Okay.
Last game of your season.
That's crazy to me. It really wouldn't bother me if it was a hard-fought game.
No.
Because
it's a bad like if that's the Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes 10-second touchdown drive. For sure. That's game, respect, game in that moment. You can't get blown out and then ask the other dude for his jersey on the spot.
And what do you
get it done in the locker room?
What do they even do with these jerseys anyway?
It's same that we do here. They just hang it up in their man cave and have it signed and just have it the rest of their life.
Here's a jersey.
Remember when I beat you?
Right. Tua's in his man cave.
26-7.
Touring people around. Yeah, this was that AFC wildcard game where Mahomes beat the brakes off me,
Yeah.
and I was terrible.
Right,
So,
right.
I like to look
That's a
at
good
this
memory
one.
for me.
It's a good
Yeah.
memory, and I actually haven't watched
It's
it
the closest
either.
I've ever been to true greatness.
It still
so.
smells like a loss. That's why I keep it in my man cave. Got to get to a break. When we get back, Chris Biederman joins us to talk Kings and Niners. Stiles Watkins, Sactown Sports.
You never know what you might hear when listening to a Sacramento Kings game.
Out of Keegan, going for another triple. Man, is he feeling it. Keegan, can he do it? Yes, there's number 11, Keegan Murray. Keegan steps back. He just knocked down his 12th three-pointer, a Kings franchise record. He's got 45 points.
Never miss a moment of Sacramento Kings basketball with Sactown Sports and the Sactown Sports app.
Sacramento's premier music festival, Country in the Park, is back. 2 big ol' nights, May 17th and 18th at Cal Expo with Brantley Gilbert, Dustin Lynch, Walker Hayes, and more. 2-day GA tickets are on sale now, starting at $85, or upgrade your experience with VIP or pit passes. Country in the Park, May 17th and 18th at Cal Expo. For more information, visit CITPfest.com. Brought to you by Oak Ridge Winery.
At Ashton & Price, we get injury victims to yes. Experience, yes. Ashton & Price has been around for over 25 years. No more insurance companies? Yes. Our clients focus on getting better, and we handle all the rest. Results? Yes. We've collected over $100 million for injury victims. No fee until we win? Yes. Our clients pay nothing until we win. Ashton & Price, the best at getting to yes. Remember, for the best advice, don't think twice. Call Ashton & Price.
Jackson Hewitt has a plan to get your tax refund fast with a buck here, buck there, here a buck, there a buck, everywhere a buck.
You don't have to wait weeks for your tax refund. Get money sooner with a no-fee refund advance loan at Jackson Hewitt.
On this loan, there's a money today guarantee. E-I-E-I-Do.
Don't settle for chicken feed. Get fast bucks at Jackson Hewitt today. No-fee refund advance loans by Republic Bank offered to eligible clients. Money today guarantee if approved for a loan on a prepaid card. Details at jacksonhewitt.com.
That was another way I would smoke once an hour. That didn't work either. All that would happen at some point of the day, I would end up doubling up. Other ways that I tried to quit was I stopped buying cigarettes totally. But if I took 3 puffs off of 15 friends, those didn't count because they weren't my cigarettes and they weren't full cigarettes. I went through a lot.
Every attempt is part of your story to quit for good. Visit Kick It California today at kickitca.org.
Capital Casino has been serving the greater Sacramento area in the same convenient downtown location for over 20 years, with plenty of close-by, well-lit parking monitored by security staff and offering the most variety of table games in the region in a safe and friendly environment. Best food, best service, and the best action. That's Capital Casino. For more information on tournaments and gaming, check out their website at capital-casino.com. And please remember to gamble responsibly. 1-800-GAMBLER.
Folsom Lake Ford has trucks. The F-150s are here. Explorers, Expeditions, and a huge selection of Broncos and Bronco Sports. They're in stock now at Folsom Lake Ford. Shop Folsom Lake Ford, your truck headquarters, right here in Sacramento for your favorite Ford models at good, fair prices. Short on cash? Buy any new Ford with 0 down. Save big with low interest finance rates. Plus, Folsom Lake Ford is paying top dollar for all trades. We want your vehicle regardless of mileage or condition. This could be the best time to buy a new Ford. Check out the huge inventory online at folsomlakeford.com or stop by the dealership and see the most recent arrivals. Looking for something special? Give them a call and tell them Doug Christie sent you. Folsom Lake Ford in the Folsom Auto Mall, your trusted dealer, my trusted dealer for over 30 years. FolsomLakeFord.com.
0 down with approved credit.
Kevin Lewis of National Garage Door. Whether you need to repair a broken spring, install a new opener, or buy a quality Rainer door, National Garage Door is here for you. Call us today to see how we can transform your house with a new garage door.
638-4554 National Garage Door. KHTKAM Sacramento, KYMX HD2 Sacramento. From the Power Business Technology Toshiba Studios, your flagship station for the Beam Team.
Should we light the beam? Light the beam, baby.
Sactown Sports. Sactown Sports. Call or text at 916-339-1140.
Jared Goff, Jordan Love, Baker Mayfield, and Brock Purdy. the cream of the crop in the NFC. Those three quarterbacks are standing between Brock and a trip to the Super Bowl in his first full season as a starter. Chris Biederman of the Candlestick Chronicles and the Sacramento Bee joins us. Chris, how you doing?
Outstanding. How are you guys?
We are good and glad to hear it. Chris, let's start here. Big picture. What was your biggest surprise of the weekend? Which game surprised you the most? Which outcome surprised you the most?
I don't know that there was a super surprising outcome in any of them. I thought, going back to Saturday, I thought it was a little bit crazy that the Browns were favored with Joe Flacco as quarterback going to Houston. I know Flacco had been a good story this year, but he had thrown a lot of interceptions, and there's a very big sample of him not playing good quarterback consistently for years on end. So Houston taking it to Cleveland the way they did wasn't super surprising. Didn't love the Dolphins going into a cold weather game, given all the injuries that they've had defensively and how bad their offensive line has played. Didn't think they had a great chance in Kansas City. I did think Pittsburgh, with Mike Tomlin maybe being on the outs there. We'll see how that turns out, but I did think they would put up a better fight in Buffalo, a team that's been hit or miss throughout the season. And I didn't have high expectations for Philadelphia against Tampa Bay. Anybody who's watched Philadelphia since that 49ers game would know that this hasn't been a particularly good team in the second half of the season. And I was in Philadelphia, Thursday and Friday covering Kings. And typically when a big-time NFL team like the Eagles are in the playoffs, the city would be buzzing with positivity and excitement. There wasn't, I didn't see people in Eagles gear anywhere. I didn't see much around the city in terms of a lot of like Eagles signage or a lot of pride in the team recently. And I think last night was an embodiment of why, given the way they lost. So, I wish I had a good answer for you. That's something like super shocked me. And I'm not trying to pretend like I'm some super smart guy here, but like there was nothing from that first round that really stood out as shocking to me. But it was pretty interesting. I did think the Rams and Lions game was fascinating from all the story angles and everything like that, with Stafford going back to the place where he played for so long. But that result wasn't really surprising either. It wouldn't have surprised me if the Rams had won that game. But the Lions winning and now having a pretty clear path to the NFC Championship game, should they beat Tampa Bay, I guess is surprising in the macro sense, looking back at what we thought the Lions would be a couple of years ago when Dan Campbell first took that job.
Well, Chris, the only one, and then I'll hand it over to my guy Watkins. What about the Cowboys, though, and the Packers?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that was surprising.
Yeah.
I mean, it was surprising in the sense of how bad it was. It wasn't surprising in the sense that the Cowboys blew a playoff game. And Mike McCarthy, didn't have his team ready in a playoff game, and Dak Prescott didn't play all that great in the playoffs. Dak, I think, is 2-5. I'd have to double check that number, but I think he's 2-5 in the playoffs as a starter. And obviously, wins are not a quarterback stat necessarily, but I think at some point you have to look at the quarterback when his performances in the postseason have been what they've been. It's fair to criticize Dak and wonder if he's going to be a guy who can ever win a team a Super Bowl. But yeah, I mean, it was surprising in that the Cowboys fell down 27-0, but it wasn't surprising to me that they would blow a game like that. I think that's sort of been, Mike McCarthy's MO is to have a disappointing performance in the playoffs, whether it be in the first round or the second round. I felt like it was coming at some point, and so it being that lopsided was definitely surprising, but not so much the result.
Chris, there's been was a lot of talk about, why the Rams were the big fear for the 49ers with Sean McVay's familiarity with Kyle Shanahan and how they do things. And I know the Rams are obviously in the Niners division, so there's tons of familiarity organization wide, but there's still a good bit of familiarity from Matt LaFleur with Shanahan in their time. I know, every time they show that the Washington coordinator graphic, Matt LaFleur is one of the names on there. So how much familiarity do you know that Matt LaFleur has with Shanahan, and is that something that should still be a concern like it was with McVay?
Yeah, I mean, maybe. I think the big concern with playing the Rams was probably just the Matt Stafford, Puka Nacua, Cooper Kupp dynamic, right? Like, I think you could make a case that Matt Stafford is probably the most dangerous quarterback in the NFC, just from a pure talent perspective, and somebody who's given the 49ers problems in the past. When it comes to familiarity, the old adage, it's a cliche, but I do believe in it to a certain extent. It's not always about the X's and O's. It's about the Jimmys and Joes, right? Like, I think the scheme familiarity will only hold up so much in comparison to how talented these teams are, right? And I think the 49ers have a very clear talent advantage over the Packers and any other team they play. So even if, Sean McVay and the Packers have a good idea of what the 49ers like to run offensively, and even if the Packers defense practices against a very similar scheme in what the Packers run, I don't know that it's necessarily going to help them, beat Trent Williams or George Kittle setting the edge, right? Like, or tackling Christian McCaffrey. So I think familiarity can obviously help, but ultimately it's going to come down to the players on the field. And I just don't know that the Packers have the players on the field, particularly on the defensive side, to slow down the 49ers. And that's not to say it won't be a competitive game or it won't be a close game, because I do think that's a possibility, because, Jordan Love, I mean, he was excellent in Dallas, and he's been, statistically one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL over the second half of the season. And the Packers started 3-6, but they only lost 2 games over their final 8. And so, that's a team, and that's the same record that the 49ers had over a similar stretch. So that's a team that is kind of unknown. Like, they're an unknown quantity in terms of, like, how good can Jordan Love be? Like, what is his ceiling? Because we don't know. There just isn't a sample size of him playing in the playoffs. So I do think the 49ers are going to have, like, an appropriate fear. But going back to your question, I think it's more like this game is going to come down to, in my opinion, just the talent disparity on the field between the Niners and Packers. And I don't know that the familiarity is really going to play all that big of a role, just because the 49ers have such a distinct advantage there.
Talking to Chris Biederman of the Candlestick Chronicles and the Sacramento Bee. Chris, switching over to Kings, you were in Philly, and correct me if I'm wrong, but you were not in Milwaukee, but we know you were obviously watching the game. How should Kings fans feel about the Kings right now, if you want to look at that big picture, or just with what happened and the way that game ended in Milwaukee? They came out, they didn't lay down, they had an opportunity to win. There was a lot of fight. It had the makings of game of the year and some missed free throws and maybe a questionable decision at the end of the game. And after all the dust settles, you walk away with another L against an elite team in the East.
Yeah, I think the Kings have proven this year to be a team that can certainly handle business against teams that they're sort of on equal footing with and bad teams, right? But I think there's a consistency gap when it comes to playing up to some of the elite teams. And even teams, like Philadelphia on Friday not having Joel Embiid, and Philadelphia taking it to Sacramento in a pretty substantial way. And it's hard to say on a long road trip. It's hard to read too much into it because it was the Kings' 3rd game in 4 nights and their 4th city of the week and all of those things. And that's not an excuse because every NBA team deals with things like that. But the Kings were 0-6 last year against Milwaukee, Philadelphia, and Boston. And those are obviously the top 3 teams in the East last year, and they're the top 3 teams in the East this year. And there's a certain physicality that those teams play with, particularly on the defensive end. And Mike Brown has been trying to get his team to play with that type of physicality throughout the season, because that's really ultimately the key to them improving defensively, is just playing with that physicality and not fouling. And those other teams do that. And a lot of that's personnel, right? The Kings don't have a roster loaded with top-tier defenders in the same way that some of these Eastern powers are constructed. But I just think that the real differentiating factor with the Kings and these other elite teams, particularly those in the East, is just how they play defensively. And until they become a consistent top 10 level defensive team, we're gonna see them vacillate between, they'll be a playoff team for sure because their offense is good enough and they have 2 all-stars in De'Aaron Fox and Domantas Sabonis, and Keegan Murray is an emerging talent who could end up being an all-star caliber player down the road. But there just hasn't been that consistency on the defensive end that makes them a real contending team yet. And look, if they want to be in the playoff mix, they might not have to make drastic changes to improve their defense because their offense is good enough. But if they want to win multiple playoff series and consistently get to the Western Conference Finals and throw their hat in the ring for a trip to the NBA Finals, then they're just going to have to improve defensively, because we've seen year in and year out, it's generally the teams that are top 5, top 10, both offensively and defensively, that really contend for championships. And the Kings just aren't there yet on the defensive end. And so, we'll see with the trade deadline upcoming if there's a move that they can make, or if they're just going to bank on internal growth like we sort of saw with them last year, and not deciding against making a substantial move and instead just, getting Kessler Edwards and then seeing if they can get growth from the guys that they have. But to me, it's all about defense, and it's what Mike Brown talks about all the time, and I'm right there with him.
Chris Biederman of the Candlestick Chronicles and the Sacramento Bee. Chris, thank you as always, and hopefully we will be talking next week about the Niners and a W, and hopefully as well the Kings take care of business tonight in Phoenix.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate you having me.
All right, got to get to a break. When we get back, are you tired about hearing about Pascal Siakam? Well, too bad, because there's more news. Stiles and Watkins, Sactown Sports.
The NFL's leading rusher plays here.
The handoff to McCaffrey, walks in the end zone. Handoff to McCaffrey, takes it right down to the goal line. He does his thing again. McCaffrey goes in motion right. Backwards pass led by Juszczyk. A block there. Hurdles a man. 10-5. Touchdown! CMC!
You can hear all of Christian McCaffrey's touchdowns on your home for 49ers football. Sactown Sports.
Big savings are back at Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop.
Looking to own or lease? We have options for everyone. Plus, lower interest rates at Folsom Lake Honda make for lower payments. It's no wonder Folsom Lake Honda is your one-stop Honda shop.
Get an instant cash offer for your trade at FolsomLakeHonda.com. We'll buy your car whether you buy from us or not.
Visit us today at FolsomLakeHonda.com.
Folsom Lake Honda, yeah, your one-stop Honda shop.
Capital Casino, conveniently located on 411 North 16th Street in downtown Sacramento.
Awesome. Hey, babe, can you check the front door? My package is here.
Yeah, on it. Hey, are we still watching our show tonight?
New episode on Prime? You bet. That reminds me, let's hit Whole Foods this afternoon. We need snack supplies.
From package deliveries to entertainment and even fresh groceries, Amazon is in front of thousands of customers every single day. Learn how you can leverage their reach for your business. Text digital to 916-766-5105 now. Make the smart move. Text digital to 916-766-5105.
Live and local. Live and local.
This is Sactown Sports.
Thank you again to Chris Biederman of the Candlestick Chronicles and the Sacramento Bee for joining us. The only surprise to Chris was the Cowboys game, but not that they lost, but just how they lost. And what happens next? We gave it to the Cowboys a good bit at the beginning of the show. The Eagles are in another spot. And, a lot of people, I think I've kind of fixed my brand, if you will, as a former, some people thought I was a Brock Purdy hater. I was never a Brock Purdy hater. And a big reason I would say, hey, I don't know why you feel like that, is because the same thing I was saying about Brock Purdy, who had a smaller sample size, I was saying about Jalen Hurts. Okay. And I like Jalen Hurts. I think he carries himself the right way. I love his story. I love a good origin story. I love someone who's kind of been an underdog their career. But that was one season, and how the seasons lined up, they had no choice but to pay him. The Eagles did. But I was not sure that you have your guy for the next 5 to 10 years with Jalen Hurts just off of one good season. We've seen guys have good seasons before. So when I said the same thing about Brock Purdy, I'm not a Brock Purdy hater or a Jalen Hurts hater, but I just thought
consistent, if anything.
I just thought that both of them needed to show me more, and Jalen Hurts did not show me very much this season. the way things worked last season, and we'll see what happens. You know, you lose Steichen, and now all of a sudden you have we talked about the raw guys. You had a raw guy in Sirianni. What do they do moving forward? But just the way they played offensively, I just felt like, again, man, if you're an Eagles fan, you better hope you get this Super Bowl. And when he fumbled and we knew the Chiefs were going to eventually get it done, I thought, I just don't see NFL teams not catching up to whatever this is.
Sure.
What is the identity of this?
Yeah.
He's not quick enough to scramble. It's these designed runs to where last season, I believe they had one of the best offensive lines.
Mm-hmm.
And then you play off of the design runs and you get those long throws from him to A.J. Brown and to Devontae. And you get Goddard in the mix as well. But it just didn't feel like this is something that is you got about 3-4 years of this offense that's going to look electric. It just felt like they had a good season.
Yeah.
And this season, they squeaked by. Their point differential was terrible. They're barely winning games.
Yep.
A lot of people called them, no offense, Chris, the Vikings of last season.
That's right.
And now they're done. And look, don't be surprised if the Eagles go ahead and take somebody in the 5th, 6th round here, just in case. Just in case. And I know they gave
they put a lot of stock in the backup quarterback.
Right. You have to give maybe he was banged up all season. I don't know. You're going to go into next season with Jalen Hurts. That is
1,000%.
1,000%. But if this doesn't look right next season, you got A.J. Brown. I don't know. There was a whole thing with Goddard talking to Jalen Hurts yesterday when he was blowing somebody out. Was he talking to Jalen Hurts or was he talking to somebody next to Jalen Hurts?
It looked like Jalen Hurts to me. Jalen Hurts looked like he was getting talked to.
A.J. Brown has removed all of his Eagles posts from his social media. He didn't even play. He claimed it was the focus on the playoffs, but brother, you weren't even playing, one. And number two,
I have to focus on the playoffs, so I'm going to go deep
stuff?
into my Instagram
But
to
why
delete
only
everything.
Eagle stuff? You didn't just shut down your account then. So I think it's a mess out there. I
don't know if you saw Jason Kelce retired.
Jason Kelce retired.
It's a pretty big piece.
That is a huge piece. He's going to focus on his podcasting.
Of course.
Okay. And doing that with his brother. So it's a mess out there in Eaglesville. I will push back on this, though. And Niners fans, you were probably enjoying me for the last 5 minutes, but I don't know how much you're going to enjoy me now. I don't think that the Niners broke the Eagles.
No.
I don't think that the Niners broke the Eagles. I think that the Eagles broke themselves, or just the war of attrition broke the Eagles, and they had that gauntlet.
I mean,
right?
and they were fighting. Like you said, I mean, their point differential was trash. They were winning every single game, one score, and pretty much winning it by getting these tush pushes that were incredibly, not fortunate, but,
they couldn't even do that last night. That's when I knew it was cooked.
That's how you know it's done. Yeah.
Do you think the Niners exposed them, though, at the very least?
But expose
them to what? Yeah, like it's
their mediocrity.
No, I mean, no, I wouldn't.
I think
so.
we all,
because they were 9-1 going in, and it's like,
I think if anything, it was the idea that the Eagles could muck it up with anybody and hang around. And when the Niners came to town and do what they did, it was, maybe the Eagles just aren't very good.
Isn't that exposing them?
I would say maybe if I would give the Niners credit for breaking their championship spirit. I think at that point the Eagles realized when they got beat down that way, I would say maybe that made them realize
that's breaking
we're
them.
not
Then.
at that. No, to me,
breaking their championship spirit. What's the difference?
No, I don't think to me, they didn't break them simply because at the end of the day, I don't think that the Niners broke them because they were already I guess if you're hanging on by a thread where the Niners the last,
and they cut the last string or whatever.
I guess.
I mean, it's who takes credit for opening the jar? Is it the guy who loosened it, or is it the person who opened the jar?
Your vocabulary.
But to me, the Niners came in with an axe to grind, so that's why I think a lot of people were willing to say, "Oh, well, the Eagles." The Niners had something coming for them. Let's see what happens next. I think that gauntlet broke them. And that might be a cop-out. But I think that whole gauntlet broke them. And the Niners were part of that gauntlet.
Were the Niners the second one in the gauntlet?
Third.
I think they were third.
They were third because they had the Cowboys.
Bills.
Or no, Wait, they might have been fourth in the gauntlet.
It was
because they had Cowboys. Hold on, I got it up right
Niners
here.
were coming off 10 days rest. I'm not saying. I just for the record.
Listen to this, though.
Okay.
they had Cowboys, then they had at Chiefs, then they had the Bills, and then they had the Niners.
Okay, right.
So
Yeah.
I'm not giving all of that to the Niners.
No. And I'm not saying the Niners broke the Eagles either. I think exposing is a probably better word to put, like, they put what they really are. You know, they showed the rest of America who the Eagles really were, and they weren't a complete team like they were the previous year, and they had all these problems, and the Niners, you know, took it to them. That they slowed them down in the beginning, and then the Niners just boat raced them.
Yeah, and it's crazy to think if they can score one of those two first drives, the
Touchdowns.
Eagles, a touchdown.
Yes.
So let's call it now. It's 10-0 going into the second quarter. Is their season completely different? I don't know. Not if we think they're ultimately
not if the Niners
frauds.
score 6 touchdowns in a row after. Like,
Well, we'll never.
But does that happen?
But does that happen?
Yeah.
That's the whole
I don't know.
point. But to me,
I don't know.
it's hard for me to give all of that credit to the Niners because they had to go to Dallas, who also had an axe to grind.
Okay.
They made a lot of enemies along the way.
So
the
if,
Eagles.
if
did.
you're going to make that hypothetical point, what if Brock Purdy doesn't break his elbow then?
That's
And
fine.
yeah, it's
But
like the same thing,
But that's
right?
fine though. We've already.
Yeah.
I thought the Niners were going to win last season.
Mhm.
I'm just saying if that gauntlet broke the Eagles, not the Niners. If the
Specifically.
Niners,
They're just part of it.
If the Eagles had the Commanders or the Giants after that week, we're not saying that. They had to go to Dallas right after that.
Yeah. No.
I would say I agree with Nate in the sense of they expose the national public to the fact that there's levels to it,
Yes.
and the Eagles weren't on that level.
Right. Then the idea was maybe the Eagles can survive like this, or the idea was the Eagles
Or they'll
are gonna
just do
turn
this,
it on.
or they'll do it against the Niners too. Like their style of play
Right,
is
it's
so
two things.
imposing.
Yeah.
Yes, they
it'll
were either
happen.
going to be able to muck it up,
Yeah.
or they were going to turn it on.
Yeah.
And they
Neither.
did
They
neither.
mucked it up
They
for
did neither.
themselves.
Yes, they
Yeah.
mucked it up for themselves, and then they lost handedly to the Cowboys. And then at that point, it was over. If you want me to give the Niners credit, it's that okay. The Eagles were hanging on because they barely beat the Cowboys. Don't forget, Dak had an opportunity to win
sure
that
did.
game, and
He
they
stepped out of
blew
bounds,
that.
right? Yeah.
They barely beat. They barely beat everybody. They were barely hanging on. They barely beat the Cowboys. They barely beat the Chiefs. They barely beat the Bills. And at that point, they had to look up and say, "Great, now the Niners are coming to town." And they just, nobody thought that the Eagles were going to win that game. That's the reason why I pushed back. Nobody thought the Eagles were going to win that game. What happens next? The idea that you're going to come back and beat the Cowboys in Dallas after you had just beat the Cowboys not too long ago.
Are you saying no one thought the Eagles were going to beat the Niners?
I felt like everybody thought the Niners were going to come in there with an axe to
I
grind.
think because maybe you're in a bubble then. Because I felt like I felt like it was closer. I felt maybe 60-40 Niners favored.
Maybe.
I mean,
maybe. Oh, yeah.
I think a lot of people were picking the Eagles. I was watching a lot of like.
But that's the thing. Like you're a Niners fan. Everybody just wants to be an underdog, though. You know what I mean? I'm not going to go back and.
I gave the Niners 60, so they're the overdog.
Well, yeah. Well, now all of a sudden I'm hearing, and that's what just kind of annoys me, to be completely honest, because now I'm seeing, oh my gosh, and people are going to be content creators. I get it. Oh my gosh, one narrative I'm seeing is that Jordan Love is hot, and I'm just like, Niners, you're favored by 9.5 points.
It's a lot.
Just be a normal fan.
But now
don't have
you
to
go
try-
so far the other way down. I can't even make like a point like this without.
How?
Well, you're like you're saying that anything like positive kind of it feels like that. Anything positive in the Niners way is like an excuse or like
no, it's
they're
not.
looking
No.
for.
No, I'm saying the Niners should go in and take care of business. There are Niners fans trying to position themselves and position a narrative that I honestly think these content creators are making up things.
Yeah,
Okay?
yeah, I
They
think
are
so
literally
too. Yeah.
making up things.
But I think it like crowds everyone else's mind and kind of like makes them think a certain way, like brings so much hate and like Brock Purdy does have pretty great stats.
Yeah.
But you're looking at some guys who inflate them and do crazy things, and it's hard to give Brock credit for the things that he's done because you're seeing people nitpick these weird little stats
Right,
that
it's
make you think a
unnecessary.
certain way.
It's
yeah,
unnecessary.
Yeah, so then it's like a negative feedback loop where you're just like, okay, worse and worse. Yeah, it's not healthy.
So now the whole thing is, and look, the Packers are hot. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to disrespect them, but I'm just saying this idea that I don't know if it's the Michael Jordan or the Mamba mentality the fans have to try to turn this into bulletin board material because user 1234 said that Jordan Love was better than Brock Purdy. I don't get it. They're 9.5. They're favored by 9.5. They're the favorites.
Yeah.
Get it done. There's no underdog. There's no way to flip this. You're at home. You have the better team. You have the better roster. Get it done.
That I will say that's moved a point, I believe, since opening, so you could see where the money's go. Like people like the Packers more. No, 10.5. I think it opened at. So now it's at 9.5. So you could see where the public is kind of thinking.
Yeah.
You know,
I know we got to get to a break.
Yeah, we do.
We got to get to a break. When we get back, are you tired about hearing about Pascal Siakam? Well, there's more, and we got it. Stiles and Watkins, Sactown Sports.
Last season, the Sacramento Kings gave us a little bit of everything. A Pacific Division type GM of the Year, Coach of the Year, Clutch Player of the Year, All-Stars and All-NBA performers. Plus, we got to light the beam.
Here's a steal by Fox, the breakaway. He stopped the rip with the left hand.
What does this season have in store? Find out. Each and every Sacramento Kings game can be heard right here on your proud home of the Beam Team, Sactown Sports at SactownSports.com.
Don't miss out on limited-time appliance deals during the closeout event at Lowe's. Get up to 35% off select major appliances. Plus, save an extra $100 when you spend $999 or more on all major appliances. Hurry, these deals are too good to last long. Shop in-store or online today. Because Lowe's knows home improvement. Valid 1/4 through 1/24. Selection varies by location. While supplies last. See Lowe's.com for details.
Progressive presents Precious Moments.
Hey, Jess, want to come for a ride on my motorcycle? You know, we can talk about our feelings and explore our emotional compatibility.
I thought you'd never ask.
The exchange you just heard didn't actually happen, but it could. Bundle your home and other vehicles with Progressive and you could use the savings to make sure the motorcycle is always ready for your dream girl. So keep the dream alive and the savings coming with Progressive. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Not available in all states.
Capital Casino, conveniently located on 411 North 16th Street in downtown Sacramento.
Get your retirement savings to play ball with your retirement plan. Call Cap Trust today at 916-924-7527 or log on to captrust.com.
Get a great deal on your new Silverado at the Maida Chevy Silverado Superstore. Great selection, great factory financing and incentive, and great Maida Chevy savings on every new Silverado in stock. Online at MaidaChevy.com. Together, let's drive.
Hey, it's Carmichael Dave asking you, are you feeling the pain of paying more and more for your gas? PG&E has increased their rates 4 times in the last 5 years, and the new forecast says PG&E customers may see their bills increase 32% by 2026. The good thing is there are steps you can take to protect yourself from these rate hikes, and better yet, American Energy may be able to help you completely eliminate your gas bill with a new ultra-high efficiency comfort system. Did you know SMUD offers huge rebates to eliminate your old gas guzzler? They can help you guide through the whole process. Seriously, listen to me. You go to the SMUD website. There's tons of rebates available, but it is confusing on how to do it. Listen to these rebates. $2,500 from American Energy, $3,500 from SMUD, $1,000 from Caltech, $2,000 home system upgrades. That's $9,000 in rebates. Let American Energy help you out at 916-520-9990.
Call 916-520-9990 now.
Sacramento's premier music festival, Country in the Park, is back. 2 big old nights, May 17th and 18th at Cal Expo with Brantley Gilbert, Dustin Lynch, Walker Hayes, and more. 2-day GA tickets are on sale now starting at $85, or upgrade your experience with VIP or pit passes. Country in the Park, May 17th and 18th at Cal Expo. For more information, visit CITBfest.com. Brought to you by Oak Ridge Winery.
Have you ever envisioned having $500,000 in advertising to conquer the remodel market, but felt overwhelmed at the thought of going it alone? Now you don't have to. Join Subcontractors United and share your advertising with 2 other contractors in your trade. Get $500,000 in advertising for only $1,042 a month. We are so sure this will work that we're giving away free advertising until June 2024 to qualified contractors. Visit subcontractorsunited.com today.
Sactown Sports.
Check us out on YouTube. Search Sactown Sports and subscribe.
We're back. sources, murmurs, reports. Pascal Siakam. I really just want him. I just wish I could you remember that movie with Adam Sandler? It's actually kind of sad. Click.
Oh yeah.
He's got the remote.
I've actually seen that movie.
The sad movie, funny, but sad.
That's right. It does kind of turn into like an existential crisis.
He ends up in a different
like,
universe.
Right.
Or
I forgot about
family.
that. Yeah.
And I feel like I want to fast forward into after the trade deadline. I do.
Okay.
And I think it's going to be a lot of fun once we get to February 8th. But I'm so tired of these.
Could be a crazy week. That's heading into the Super Bowl.
It is, man.
Got trade deadline.
Right. We might be on the road.
Look out.
Hey, we might be on the road. We'll talk.
Now.
We'll talk, but we might be in Vegas. Anybody want to come say hello to the boys? But you got to get there, Niners, and you got to beat one of. I can get the list back because it really is just hilarious to me. Jared Goff. Okay.
Yep.
Got to be Jared Goff.
Yep.
Young Baker Mayfield. Or Jordan Love. These guys stand between you and number 6. Niners.
No excuses.
None.
There's absolutely none. There's not a single
zero.
Excuse. Come on. What are you going to say? Oh, the Lions are actually pretty good. The Lions? What? Y'all? That's like if the Kings just last year made the NBA final. You can't have a team that just got their first playoff win since what, 1992? Mm-hmm. You can't have that team roll in when the Niners have gone through their own gauntlet of trying to get to the Lombardi Trophy. You can't just have the Lions skip the line like that. You got to take care of business at the very least. I mean, of course the mission is win, but it's even like if you don't even get there, y'all, that's a insane.
problem. No, and they just
can't have that.
They extended, they extended the front office. They extend Shanahan, all these things, right? So you feel good about it, okay, Jed York? I think that's saying a lot to say, hey, you should probably get it done right now. And I'm just seeing here on the Sack chat to
slander forever.
Beamer, Beams, or Beamley. They really are getting on deck with that. Here we go,
dude.
Here we go.
Crazy.
And somebody, I read something.
That.
Here we go. Hits different when you're down by 30.
It sure does.
Yeah. Where are we going, Dak?
He didn't. Yeah, he was like, "Do I really have to keep saying this?" Because
right. Like it's just a bad one when you're not winning, and I really am so intrigued as to what the Cowboys are going to do. But yeah, John Lynch, Kyle Shanahan, you got extended. You got to face this is the best quarterback group to where, and it's elite over there in the AFC. We know
it's tough,
but these aren't even these guys. This is so bad. They found quarterbacks that Steven Ruiz actually had Brock Purdy ranked higher than. That's how easy it's going to be for the Niners. And Steven Ruiz can't stand Brock.
Yeah.
And the collection of quarterbacks to get to the Super Bowl, Steven Ruiz actually had Brock ranked higher than. This is incredible.
That's crazy.
It cannot line up
my God.
Better.
It could not. I did not know that.
Niners.
That's incredible.
Now, maybe he had somebody in front of him.
Those sound like guys who
I don't know who
probably
it would be,
have to.
Right?
Maybe Jared Goff.
Maybe Jared Goff. I don't think it would be Jordan Love. So you got to get it. You got to get it taken care of.
At least get there, man. I know that's not the end goal, but again, when you have this crop of quarterbacks here, there's no excuse to at least getting there. Again, on the AFC, you got a much tougher list. You got Lamar, you got Pat Mahomes, you got CJ Stroud, you got Josh Allen. I get how maybe, again, lifting that Lombardi trophy is the toughest hurdle to get over. But, man, if you're not at least getting to the dance this year, there's a
problem.
You can't – next year, the Niners can go 14-2, and you're not going to believe them until they actually get it done. So, I mean, that's been where they're at, but especially now that everything has lined up so perfectly for them, out my ears. Now that everything is lined up perfectly for them, there's no excuses, man. You got to get it done, and if you can't get it done this year, then I just don't want to hear it until you're raising that trophy.
No, and I think some Niner fans are already there.
Oh, absolutely,
but
absolutely.
I would say first full season with Brock, he's been healthy. Everybody's been relatively healthy. I think that this, to your point, I think some people are already there, but I think a lot of more Niner fans would be there if they don't get it done this season.
Niner fans don't want me to say this. I probably shouldn't say it because it's a bad omen, but I honestly think that they're at the point now to where there's some fail safes in there to where I still feel like I'm not going to say Brock Purdy goes down the rest of the playoffs, but Sam Darnold should even be able to get a playoff game done here. Okay? I'm seriously like the amount of talent that is on this roster.
What are we
Come
doing?
on, man. Come on. With the teams that are lined up in front of them. That's what I'm saying. There's no excuses for having no success in this
And on the
playoffs.
flip side, you can't really say the same
Got
for
all
Lamar.
the games at home.
Right. Look, it feels like Lamar, it's a down season for the AFC, but you're still now Rashee Rice looks like the next coming of Tyreek. Okay, so
looks like Jerry Rice.
But to Lamar's point is, hey Lamar, who are you going to be? We compare.
It's not going to get easier than this. To your point,
if there's Sabonis and there's a Jokic, right? Is it a situation to where Lamar is always just going to be the bridesmaid to Patrick Mahomes and same with Josh Allen? I mean, you don't have to deal with Burrow this season. If not now, then
a new challenger has now entered the arena too. CJ Stroud's in the building.
That team is only going to get better. So who knows how long they'll be around? And he looks legit. So at some point you're going to have to figure this whole thing out. Want to get to this sound as we get back to NBA on Pascal Siakam and Shams now. This is just reminding me of a show. You know, we like MTV The Challenge.
We love it.
You know, you ever watch MTV The Challenge or Love Island, and these shows could probably be cut by about 40% of the episodes. That's what I'm feeling like with this Pascal Siakam thing. The episodes are just they're starting to pile up here. It's just way too long.
Reaching for storylines.
Yeah, let's hear from Shams in the newest update on Pascal.
My sense is that the Kings are going to take a measured approach ahead of the trade deadline. We're just about 3.5 weeks away from the trade deadline. So the Kings are going to be patient. I think they'll be measured. They're among the offers that Toronto has on the table potentially for Pascal Siakam. It's around Harrison Barnes and draft picks, a couple other salaries as well. But for the Kings, it's been about the timing of a deal. They wanted to get a deal done sooner than later and not have to wait. They want to bring in a player, whoever that player is, whether it's Siakam or anyone else, into the fold. And really build that chemistry that's necessary. And the other thing is framework. I'm told Toronto kind of, when you ask for more late in the process, it changes the equation. It changes the framework. And when the Kings decided to pull out about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, it really made it so that it's really on the Raptors at this point to come back to them if a deal is going to get done. The Raptors continue to be engaged with teams on Siakam. The Indiana Pacers are one of the teams that they have been talking to over the last couple of weeks. So the Siakam market still is ongoing. The Kings are there potentially, but only if Toronto wants to go back to them. But I think overall the Kings have a few targets and they're going to be measured overall.
Respectfully, that told me nothing.
Absolutely nothing.
We're just hearing the same things.
Yep.
And I'm sick of it, Chris.
I am too.
It's like Groundhog Day. Got to get to a break. When we get back, we react to the newest update on Pascal Siakam. And also, who else should you be targeting if you are Monty McNair? Stiles Watkins, Sactown Sports.
On the move? Got somewhere to be?
Take Sacramento Kings basketball with you. The Sactown Sports app will let you stay connected to your passion. Never miss a moment of Sacramento Kings basketball with the Sactown Sports app.
Plantar fasciitis feels like pointed, sharp pain, very intense. It can make your eyes water. It makes you walk funny because you're trying to get pressure off your heel. I had instability. I was so frustrated. I didn't know what to do. And I was driving past the Good Feet store. I mean, why not? Give it a try.
For over 20 years, we've been helping people like Teresa actually live the life they love without their feet getting in the way.
They wanted to make sure they fitted me with the right thing. And so they brought out several different arch supports and gave me the opportunity to try them in shoes and walk around with them until they found the perfect ones for my feet. I had no idea that they would be that patient, and I had no idea they would be that kind. And you just knew, like, your feet, just when they got on the right ones, they were like, oh yeah. And it really did make a big difference. It made my foot not hurt. I'm Teresa, and that's my Good Feet story.
See what we can do for you with a free personalized arch support fitting at the Good Feet store.
Visit the Good Feet store in Sacramento, Roseville, and Vacaville.
Furniture that will last a lifetime versus lesser quality furniture found elsewhere. Now, I suppose there's a huge difference in what you'd put in your first apartment and what you would live with in the comfort of your own home. Right now, Naturewood Home Furnishings Made in USA sale is a great time to fill your home with solid, superior quality furniture to reflect your own love for life. With brands like Sam Moore, Stanton, Stickley, Hilltop Hickory, Simply Amish, and many more, Naturewood Home Furnishings has tables, chairs, couches, and, yes, nightstands, and more at their Made in USA sale. Find furniture that will be with you forever. Naturewood Home Furnishings, off Highway 50 at Hazel. Look for the water wheel.
Folsom Lake Ford has trucks. The F-150s are here. Explorers, Expeditions, and a huge selection of Broncos and Bronco Sports. They're in stock now at Folsom Lake Ford. Shop Folsom Lake Ford, your truck headquarters, right here in Sacramento for your favorite Ford models at good, fair prices. Short on cash? Buy any new Ford with zero down. Save big with low interest finance rates. Plus, Folsom Lake Ford is paying top dollar for all trades. We want your vehicle regardless of mileage or condition. This could be the best time to buy a new Ford. Check out the huge inventory online at FolsomLakeFord.com or stop by the dealership and see the most recent arrivals. Looking for something special? Give them a call and tell them Doug Christie sent you. Folsom Lake Ford in the Folsom Auto Mall. Your trusted dealer, my trusted dealer for over 30 years. FolsomLakeFord.com.
0 down with approved credit.
This is Monster Jam. Witness big air, two-wheel skills, backflips, and all-out racing. It's the only place to see the world's best drivers tear up the dirt in your favorite Monster Jam trucks like Gravedigger, El Toro Loco, Megalodon, and more. It's big-time fun for the whole family. Monster Jam, as big as it gets. Coming to Golden One Center, January 26th to the 28th. Brought to you by BKT Tires and Great Clips. Visit monsterjam.com today.
Kevin Lewis of National Garage Door. Whether you need to repair a broken spring, install a new opener, or buy a quality Rainer door, National Garage Door is here for you. Call us today to see how we can transform your house with a new garage door.
638-4554 National Garage Door.
Sactown Sports. Call or text at 916-339-1140.
Niners injury report for Tuesday. Will not practice Cleveland Farrell, Dre Greenlaw, Logan Ryan. Limited Eric Armstead and George Odom. Christian McCaffrey will be a full participant. Get it done. Get it done.
No excuses.
San Francisco 49ers. 916, this is interesting, getting back to the Tua conversation. This is a little bit different. I don't fully agree, but I understand where the 916 is coming from because it's a fine line. And the 916 says what Tua did, and if you're just now joining the show, thank you for joining us. But Tua asked for Patrick Mahomes' jersey literally right after, as they're doing the handshake after the game. And Mahomes, you can hear him basically mouth it and say, hey,
nah,
this one's going to Tyreek, yada, yada, yada. So this is from the 916. What Tua did is exactly what drives me crazy with the Kings. They may not be asking to swap jerseys, but after a loss, I am tired of seeing all the dapping it up. I want to see our guys be upset about a loss. Gone are the days of Jordan and Kobe. Someone needs that killer mentality. That is from the 916. And that is the fine line to where I think I disagree with. I don't really mind dapping it up after the game.
I don't think you have to be.
I don't think that
LeBron's done fine.
Well, did Jordan and Kobe not dap people up after the game?
General rule of thumb was those two were not nice people. Like, they weren't excited to do the dap up after. I'm sure there's definitely video of Kobe dapping people up.
The same thing with LeBron. It's the sportsmanship question.
Are
right?
you guys familiar with Jeff Teague's podcast he's been doing? Recently said something about Kobe and Kobe trying to get him to come play for him. And Jeff's like, I don't want to play for that crazy person.
Yeah.
Right. Like, he didn't want it. Like, he was talking trash about Jeremy Lin, I think it was, like, right in front of his face to Jeff Teague. He's like, you stuck me with this guy. You didn't want to come to LA. Now I'm stuck with this guy. It's like, that's psychotic.
Yeah. Like, is that better?
I love Jeff Teague.
Or I saw one, and it was LeBron against KD, I believe, because that's always a big deal when they face off against each other. Yeah. And I saw one thing, and again, it's the internet, so take it with a grain of salt. But essentially, they were saying that there were two different scenes. It was LeBron after losing to the Suns and LeBron after beating the Suns. And when LeBron lost to the Suns, he just dipped. And when LeBron beat the Suns, he's all smiles, dapping it up with KD. Would that be better? Right? Do we not care
after
about
a win for sure.
Right.
Yeah.
Do we not care about sportsmanship anymore? I don't know if I do or not. I don't know.
Yeah, it's a good point. I mean, I guess it's not necessary. It's just kind of a thing that it's also just like, I don't know, these guys are real people. And like, just because they're on different teams doesn't mean that their paths haven't crossed before in the past. And I don't really have an issue with it. I understand why people like, especially after losses immediately, see them dapping each other up. But also I would say in general, basketball feels like a different kind of game too, where it's a little bit less, not serious, but I don't know, something about football, just it feels like there's a lot more animosity, and obviously it's a much more physical game, and something about, I don't know, maybe that could just be my own prejudices coming into effect, but it feels like to me it makes more sense in basketball where it's a little bit less, it just feels a little bit less serious. I don't know, it feels like maybe it's just I have the understanding more so that these guys commingle with between each other, but I don't know. It to me doesn't feel as bad.
I think situation matters, and this is a playoff game, and I'm not going to compare that to a regular season basketball game. I know when I was still in the Bay and the Warriors lost to the Lakers, Draymond got ripped because right after the game he was dapping it up with LeBron and smiling. Yeah. And people hated that. Sure. And I got that. I understood that. But a regular season game is an 82-game season. You say what's up, you say goodbye to somebody. That's different. Now, after a playoff series, if you saw De'Aaron Fox chumming it up with Steph right after, and I don't know if that happened or not. It probably did.
It definitely did.
It probably did. Yeah. I could see how you as a fan, which is short for fanatic, feel some type of way, is very invested. And that might make you feel some type of way because you're ticked off.
Sure.
And then you get reminded, hey, these guys got a pretty good life.
Right.
I hate to go there, especially on a sports talk show.
Sure.
But
De'Aaron told us he just moves on. The second he leaves the arena, it's like,
right? I'm not saying they don't care.
Right.
But I'm saying, you've had LeBron, and some people say you can hate on me. You got to go back to your life.
Right.
So I can understand why that would probably just annoy people even more. Sure. But to me, what Tua did was worse, because you're coming off as a fan.
It was big fan. Right? And yeah, maybe it was like that specific situation. It just felt super fanny. It felt like he was fanboying over Patrick Mahomes.
So that's why that's the difference to me. And I would say situation. If you want to feel like that, dapping it up and smiling after a hard fought playoff series, I can hear you on that. But then at the same time, to the 916 or whoever else feels like that, then I guess we're done with sportsmanship, which I don't necessarily have a problem with.
Yeah, that's it. I haven't thought of it from that angle, but that does bring up an interesting point of like, is that all just kind of for show anyway? Like, do we need that part of the game? I mean,
just leave.
Just leave. Yeah, just walk off the floor. Like, is it really disrespectful to just not dap up your opponent? Because again, you'll see those guys, especially in a playoff series, you'll see them again in 2 days or something. Like, is it really that disrespectful? I don't know. Yeah, I haven't. It's not really been something that I've thought about before.
That's a good question, because I'm thinking off the top of my head, it does feel like in playoff series.
Because in baseball, they don't dap up at the end of games. They dap up maybe at the end of the series.
I don't think they dap up at all.
Really?
In baseball. Yeah. I don't think they dap up at all.
That's interesting. Yeah,
but
I don't know.
In basketball, I feel like they don't really dap up during a playoff series. Maybe it's not forced. Then it's a big dap up at the end of the series.
It's a huge dap up at the end of the series. That's when the jersey swaps happen. That's when guys are out there for 10 minutes talking with each other about it.
And again, it is also tougher to compare because in basketball, you've at least played 4 games.
Right.
So would you be mad at, I guess, De'Aaron if the Kings get swept? And he didn't play well. That's a lot different than a one game. You had one game, right? At least you could
even
say,
like in a 7-game series, it's like, hey, we earned so much respect for each other throughout.
That's what I'm saying. But a one game playoff series, Tua, I mean, I blinked and you were out of the playoffs, and now you're asking for a jersey. You honestly, Tua, you didn't earn a Patrick Mahomes jersey.
Right.
You didn't even earn a Patrick Mahomes jersey. That's my problem with it. So, yeah, no, but I hear you 916 in a way, but at the same time, I think it's a little bit different. If we're just assuming you're talking playoffs, I get it. But again, 4 games, you're back and forth. You're in their city, they're in your city. Yeah. That's still a course of at least if you even get swept, that's still going to take over a week.
Right.
So, you've been through some things. Even if you got swept, there probably was a couple close games in there. One game, I mean, like I said, Tua, you know what I mean? My baby literally took a nap and you were in and out of the playoffs. Right. That's how short your stint was.
And again, it's not even like they were going, like, it's not like, I don't know, Micah Parsons or Jordan Love asking for Micah Parsons jersey or something where it's like, hey, that's a real mano-a-mano situation where, again, it can be a game respect game thing. To me, it's Tua almost idolizing Patrick Mahomes and saying, oh my gosh, I just got a front row seat to see this guy put on a masterclass.
Yeah.
I've got to get some sort of, let me take a piece of confetti off the field. And it's like, come on, man. I don't know. It came off really bad from Tua.
Yeah, I didn't like it. Also have, before we get to a break here, some new news on the A's that has been circulating. And the A's, man, I mean, talk about a bad look. It's terrible.
It's terrible.
So there's a little chance that they will play in the Coliseum after 2024. Okay. They have Sacramento as a backup plan for
Sacramento
2025. A's. I mean, I'll go to the games. Don't get me wrong. It's too close.
You're going to cross the picket fence?
I like baseball.
That's the question.
But I like baseball.
So I don't think you were here when like the throes of the A's moving to Vegas was happening, because that was really the big thing. Is like you're in Sacramento and the A's are already gone. Is it crossing the picket fence, or is it hey, this situation's already handled? Like is available. I'm going to go because this is possibly a once in a lifetime opportunity. Like, do you see anything potentially wrong with, I mean, maybe some diehard A's supporters might say, don't put any money in their pockets. Don't help them with this moving process. Why would Sacramento aid the A's in trying to move out, make it as difficult as possible? The argument is that's their fault. And why should Sacramento as a market help these guys move out of the Bay Area, Northern California, when they've done nothing but they've done nothing but be terrible to the area? Well, that's just the right. I mean, I think if you're a Sacramento baseball fan, totally makes sense to me to go to a Sacramento baseball game. But
I get that, and by the way, still no public renderings or actual financing plan.
Good luck. I think
Vegas.
I think that's due today.
I get that, but the thing is, the bridge has already been burned.
Exactly. That's how
and I'm not even saying right. I see both sides of it, but the bridge has already been burned. If you're Sacramento, hey, you give some people some jobs, you get an opportunity for
one last opportunity too for A's fans.
Exactly. They got to play somewhere, so why not allow it to be in Sacramento? I get it if there was still an opportunity to save this thing. But that bridge has already been burned. If we were still in the throes of it, then sure. But the bridge has already been burned. At least you get to, we know Sacramento has a ton of A's fans from back in the day when they were bringing in, trying to up their ticket sales and things like that. So let everybody see the A's before they do move on. That's how I look at it. So
I can't believe the Giants are allowing it. That's the one thing that I still have. Well, I haven't heard confirmation on it, but the Giants, as we know, have been probably the A's least their biggest adversary to moving,
but they did all that,
or I guess biggest proponent for them moving, I should say.
Right, but they did all that. They said, "Oh my gosh!"
I guess in a way, if it helps them move out, they're like, "Yeah, sure, go ahead. You can rent our space if it means y'all can go."
Yeah, some of you A's fans are going to come crawling, but hey, it's so bad for the city of Oakland. That's what the Giants put out, and then they did not even vote against moving the A's when it was unanimous, meaning that the A's did not need that, or Major League Baseball did not need the Giants vote, so they could have did this in solidarity.
Totally.
Could
have been 29-1.
So once they did that, I'm thinking, okay, well, you might as well get some money. It is a business.
For sure.
And not to say I like it, but, at the end of the day, I just want to watch baseball. All right, got to get to a break. We see you on the line, Mike and Steven, wanting to talk about sportsmanship. And I think it's a really good conversation. So we're going to take those calls, and after that, we will get started. How important is the game tonight? I'll tell you what, Chris and I don't agree on how important the game is tonight. We'll get into it. Stiles and Watkins, Sactown Sports.
The NFL's leading rusher plays here.
And a handoff to McCaffrey, walks in the end zone. Handoff to McCaffrey, takes it right down to the goal line. He does his thing again. McCaffrey goes in motion right. Backwards pass led by Juszczyk. A block there. Hurdles a man. 10, 5, 10.
YouTube chat, you got me. I just want to say, is that a good trade-off for me to go? Like, I don't know. Is that even what you guys want for the ads? Like, we would love to get like 45, 50 likes. Oh, I'm talking to the YouTube chat. Yeah, can you guys hear me? Oh, you guys are in audition, huh? Never mind. You don't know what that means. Okay. Yeah, just let me know. Like, we're trying to get more likes. We're trying to get the algorithm going. So whatever we can do, it's a team effort here. So if you guys, I'll cash app you guys, whatever you need. Just, I don't know if there's any ideas like that you would trade like during the breaks. I don't know, because it's hard for like the host to talk every break. I can't do it every break. There's a lot going on, but if you have any ideas, but if not, just like it, please. You guys are sick. We appreciate it. Thanks.
Wendy's new 2 for $3 Biggie Bundles. Limited time only. U.S. price and participation may vary. Not valid in a combo. Single item at regular price.
The first time I tried to quit vaping, I told myself that it was like a mountain that I had to climb over. And once I got to the other side, it would be clear. But I couldn't make it over. What really got me to quit was my little sister. I saw her vaping. So I was back in the mountain, but this time she was up there with me. It's weird what you can do for others that you won't do for yourself.
Every attempt is part of your story to quit for good. Visit Kick It California today at kickitca.org.
At Charmin, we heard you shouldn't talk about going to the bathroom in public, so we decided to sing about it.
When you're rolling Charmin, don't you soft on the party. Let's just roll it back, everybody. Charmin's irresistibly soft and hella nice. The grip is always soft. It's our party vice. Everybody wanna touch the sky.
Charmin Ultra Soft is irresistibly soft and more absorbent, so you can use less. Enjoy the go with Charmin.
Big savings are back at Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop.
Looking to own or lease? We have options for everyone. Plus, lower interest rates at Folsom Lake Honda make for lower payments. It's no wonder Folsom Lake Honda is your one-stop Honda shop.
Get an instant cash offer for your trade at FolsomLakeHonda.com. We'll buy your car whether you buy from us or not.
Visit us today at FolsomLakeHonda.com.
Folsom Lake Honda, yeah, your one-stop Honda shop.
Carmichael Dave here for my good friends at American Energy Heating and Air. Right now, American Energy offering $0 HVAC diagnostics. That's normally $99 for nothing. Let the American Energy team test your system, connections, and all the moving parts of your system to ensure it's functioning properly. Let me say that again. $0 to get your HVAC diagnostic-ted. That's not even a word. That's normally $100. Making the uncomfortable comfortable. That's what American Energy does. That's what they've done since 1981. Been serving the greater Sacramento area since then. A+ with the Better Business Bureau. Call today to schedule your appointment at 916-520-9990. That's 916-520-9990. Do it before January 31st or go to AmericanEnergyAir.com.
Call 916-520-9990 now.
Awesome. Hey, babe, can you check the front door? My package is here.
Yeah, on it. Hey, are we still watching our show tonight?
New episode on Prime? You bet. That reminds me, let's hit Whole Foods this afternoon. We need snack supplies.
From package deliveries to entertainment and even fresh groceries, Amazon is in front of thousands of customers every single day. Learn how you can leverage their reach for your business. Text digital to 916-766-5105 now. Make the smart move. Text digital to 916-766-5105.
Guys, want to lose weight, improve your performance, and increase your drive?
Revive Men's Health can help you make it happen with our new cutting-edge weight loss medications like your favorite athletes and celebrities use. They're affordable and available now. And since your testosterone level has a direct impact on your weight and fitness, get a free T-check and free exam. Book your appointment today at Revive Sacramento. We know we can help you. Call 916-277-8599. That's 916-277-8599. Or visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com.
From the Power Business Technology Toshiba Studios.
KHTKAM Sacramento, KYMX HD2 Sacramento.
Sacramento's official home for the San Francisco 49ers.
Touchdown! San Francisco!
Sactown Sports.
Live and local.
Live and local.
This is Sactown Sports.
Sportsmanship. What is that line? And where is it? Do you care? And do you have to pretend, right, that you do care when ultimately you don't, if you are a professional athlete or if you're a high school athlete? That's what this comes down to. We have Steven, who's been hanging on throughout the break. Steven on the Folsom Lake Honda Hotline. All guests and callers join us from the Folsom Lake Honda Hotline. Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop. What's up, Steven? What are your thoughts on dapping up and the Tua situation?
Well, good morning, by the way, boys. As far as like sportsmanship is concerned, I feel like there should be no excuse to express good sportsmanship. They teach you that in high school. When people get injured, everyone takes a knee. We do kind of see that in the NFL. As of recently, especially with like the serious injuries, I don't think there should be any excuse to not like dap someone up. I think there should be good sportsmanship. I'm all about it. I feel like being a good sport is definitely shows character and what kind of a character and kind of a human being you actually are. My point to bringing that up is you have people in the MMA who talk for weeks. They talk all this jive. They talk all this crap to each other. And they go into that octagon and for 15 to 25 minutes, okay, they are beating the absolute ever-living crap out of each other. They want to humiliate that other person. They want to beat that man down to a pulp. But what do you see after that? When they just got done breaking that man's jaw, you know, Uriah Faber, when he fought Mike Brown, he broke both of his hands in that fight. And still, at the end of the day, walked up to homie and dapped him up, gave him a big hug, congratulated him, said, hey, thank you for a great fight. Conor McGregor, Colby Covington, all these people with these big mouths who talk all that crap will still, after all that animosity with the two between the two fighters, pardon me, they still go up and they show ultimate sportsmanship. I feel like MMA is one of those rare sports where it's so violent, but yet at the same time, those guys still show each other love at the very end. Baseball players, basketball players, football players, I really feel like that it all comes down to ego, and I feel like there should be no excuse for you to be a simple human being to just dap someone up and maybe show good sportsmanship. Say thank you for the competition because you brought that same energy that they hopefully brought. You know what I mean? I feel like it's a mutual respect between competitors, and I'm one of those where I'm old school, man. Sportsmanship is huge, and it's very key. Thank you for letting me have the floor, man. I really appreciate you guys. Thank you.
No, thanks for the call, Steven. And again, we're kind of moving out of where we started because the issue isn't Tua dapping up Mahomes.
Right.
The issue is asking for Mahomes' jersey, and then that evolved into a sportsmanship conversation. But just to bring it back to where it started, we had no problems with Tua dapping up.
Yeah.
We're not saying don't dap him up. We're saying don't ask for a jersey.
I am thinking in general about the practice of like, is it necessary? Like, it does feel like a little bit of not staged, but like it does feel like sometimes they do dap people up just for the sake of, this is what we're all supposed to do, right?
Yeah.
And that's more where I'm questioning is, do we need that? Like, for sure, if you have a friend on the other side, by all means, go ahead. But does it have to be the entire squad doing it? I think is more where I was thinking, especially in the regular season, is it necessary? Not, but I mean, absolutely. I don't think either of us are championing not having sportsmanship in sports. I mean, there's definitely, but also I would say, like, respect can be shown. It doesn't have to be shown after the event happens. Like, I mean, you can show respect to an opponent during the game. You can talk highly of them you can show respect to an opponent before the conclusion of the game is also where I'm like, I don't know if we have to have the big dap up session after at the center of the court after you guys just did battle for an hour, 2 hours.
Yeah, and ultimately I think it should be up to everyone.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, I don't know if these guys have a relationship, but let's say Lakers, Kings are in a playoff series. I don't need LeBron. I don't need to see LeBron dap up Kessler Edwards. Right. That doesn't make him a bad, I don't know that they know each other.
Well, there was also like a really big thing. I remember back in I don't remember, but I know it was a big thing. I think it was in the 80s when the Pistons walked off the floor and didn't dap up the Bulls. Mm-hmm. Like, I get it. I understand why but
people say that's what they like.
But again, is that actually a big deal? Exactly to the point. Like, don't we kind of like that? Like, isn't that an edge to sports that, again, even the texters, like, I kind of want my teams to have a bit of that. So why is the dap up at the end kind of theatrics? Is it a bit of, Draymond, acting like, or I think he seriously does love LeBron, but like, is that necessary, or can all that stuff be done after the game?
Right.
Like, as you guys are heading to your cars and the bus. And all
right. Like I said, is dapping up, LeBron dapping up Kessler Edwards, is that necessary?
Definitely.
Right? I don't think that they, Kessler didn't play. What's the point? All right. Moving on to the game tonight. And Chris and I kind of threw this around to start the show in the pre-show. And we really talked about it yesterday with the Sactown Sports Kings insiders who were filling in for us as we had the day off. But Chris Watkins came in anyway.
No days off, apparently.
I even did a couple segments. And Chris kind of scoffed a little bit when I said that I need the Kings to get this game tonight.
Gotcha. Yes.
And I saw the look on your face, kind of feeling like
didn't. My back was turned.
No, I saw your profile, and we talked about it as well. And you said, I don't think they need to get it tonight. And I just want to say, Chris, to you, as we continue the conversation, and if you want to be a part of the conversation, 916-339-1140, Chris, they don't get this game. Here's the thing. If they don't get this game tonight, that's fine. But to me, is it more that you're in the camp of, we know who this team is and nothing is going to change unless there is change? Is that why? Because at this point, I guess to me, the question is, I'm just working in the idea of a deal isn't going to get made.
Sure.
I don't think a big deal is going to get made.
And I think that's where the difference of opinion, I think that's where, like, we start to split on the emotion.
Sure. So because I don't think a deal is going to get made, I'm working with this team.
Yes.
If you believe that there is going to be a deal made, I don't really care what they do, because this isn't going to be their final product.
Yeah.
But you just read off some standings.
I sure did.
And I think you should let the people know that the Kings are playing with fire here.
Yeah.
Okay. You still want to say the Bucks, it was a good game, it was good for basketball. Now tell us the standings, Chris.
I will. So, I mean, yes, again, I would like to say I don't believe the Kings have to win today. But at the same time, saying that, you're not wrong that the Kings should win today. Like, they would do themselves a whole lot of favors if they can win today, and here's why. Right now, the Kings, as it stands after their loss to the Bucks on Sunday, are 23-16, good for 5th in the Western Conference right now, 2 games behind the 4th seed Clippers. The problem is they are currently in a 3-way tie right now for that 5th seed with Dallas and New Orleans, both of which don't play tonight, and New Orleans has the tiebreaker advantage over the Kings.
They got a double tiebreaker against the Kings.
If the Kings lose tonight, that would put them at 17 losses, tied with Dallas and New Orleans, but with only 23 wins to their 24. So the Kings would be the 7 seed. The scary thing is the 8th seed right now is the Phoenix Suns, who are 21-18. And if they win tonight over the Kings, that would put them at 22-18, only a game back of the Kings for that 7 seed. So not only if the Kings lose tonight, they will be in the play-in, they are now a game away from being the 8th seed. And you don't want to know that the Utah Jazz have 20 losses, the Lakers have 21 losses, and the Houston Rockets, who are currently out of the playoffs entirely, have 20 losses as well. So the Kings, if they lose tonight, again, it's more just okay, you guys are now putting yourself in danger of losing some games that you're not supposed to lose and ending up near the bottom of the Western Conference playoff picture. If not, completely out of it if things really go bad here. So at some point you're going to have to try and turn around these fortunes, and you're going to have to win games that you're not supposed to win.
And that's why, as funny as...
And you better win games you're supposed to win.
As funny as the Coach Mike Brown thing was, and I thought it was very memeable, and I thought it was great. It was just hard for me to enjoy it because I was just so annoyed about that game. I'll be honest with you. Nothing he said wasn't true. Dame has always been a foul baiter. He's a foul merchant. Dame has always been that, and he gets a really good whistle. We all know that, and that's part of the reason why they didn't want to be anywhere near him on that 3-point attempt. A lot of people were saying Fox didn't contest. I think that you should have blitzed him. Hindsight's 2020. You didn't want to give up a foul there, and obviously Giannis was probably going to be able to score, but that would have been a tie game. But I'm sitting there and all that stuff is fine and good, but ultimately it's just another loss. And this is a tough one because you get mad when the Kings don't show up. This one might even sting worse, or it's a different type of hurt.
It's a different kind.
Because
it's
you did
worse,
show up. You know what I mean? I don't think it's worse either. Because you did show up, and that's something that you should have had.
Yeah.
So now you're 0-2. That streak goes to 9 in Philly and to 15.
10 in Philly, 15 against Milwaukee.
That's insane.
It's not great.
That's insane. So I really think you got to, again, I am operating, and we know that we get into a break. We know that there are a lot of people that, in the Sacramento media, there are a lot of different platforms and a lot of different areas of content. And there's a report that, Pascal Siakam said this and he didn't say that, or whatever it is. All I'm trying to do right now is operate on who is on this team. And right now, this team is a first round exit.
Sure is.
That's who they are.
Yep.
So how do you fix that? These sources, these whatevers, that's cool. I'll talk about it when the deal gets done.
Yeah.
We've heard the same thing, again, repackaged. We've heard the same thing about Pascal. And at first it was, did he say something specifically to the Kings? I don't know. We never really got confirmation on that.
Right.
Just because sources, right? And now it's come back to the same exact situation that we knew about Pascal Siakam a month ago, maybe 2 months ago. He was always going to test free agency, and all of a sudden there's a report on, he said it was Sacramento. And I thought to myself, I'll be honest, Chris, I thought to myself, did he say that directly to Sacramento, or was it just a matter of he was never what we already knew?
Yeah.
He was always going to test free agency besides the Raptors. It's funny to me that he wants to extend with the Raptors. The Raptors don't want him.
They don't want him.
So
why don't they want me?
Why don't they want me, man? Why don't nobody want me, man? Okay, Pascal, he doesn't want to go anywhere else. So to me, I get what you're saying. I just, at this point, and I'm going to have a lot of fun. I'm the trade machine person. Maybe I'm just getting tired of this. It's the same pieces, the same convo.
Yeah.
Nothing has gotten done. And the value changing day to day? Now I would say, hey, Kevin Huerter coming off a heater. Is his value up now? Well, let's see what he does tonight. Could go back down to 2. Who knows?
Right. No, I'm tired of it. I'm sick and tired of it. And especially we played the Sham sound. It sounds like nothing is happening on that front unless Toronto comes back around to the Kings, which I don't see why. Maybe if the Kings are just like, our offer is Harrison Barnes and 2 protected first round picks, and that's it. Like, I'm okay if the Kings end up pulling the trigger on that. But, I feel like if I were the Kings and I felt like really, I mean, I'm looking at it now. They played the Raptors January 5th. I feel like even going into that game, we knew that this team was flawed and probably needed a trade. That's why there was so much buzz around Pascal maybe being traded that day, because it was they had just lost to Charlotte, had just lost to Portland. Felt like there was a shift shift that needed to happen at that time. I'm at the point now where I'm going to look back when a deal is made and say, this is great, but again, you've maybe wasted some time here putting yourself behind the 8 ball. I think if Monte McNair feels like a trade needs to happen for this team to be better than a first-round exit, like you said, I agree with it. Make the move. Like, what is the waiting around and waiting for guys to become more available or waiting for your offer to be better? If you're going to go make a big splash move, go make it. I don't know what the Kings are waiting for at this point, because I don't, like you said, I mean, I'm under the mindset that the deal is going to happen, but as the days go on, I'm starting to come more and more over to your side where it doesn't feel like anything is going to happen. And if it's not, I mean, I don't see how this team is going to be more successful than they were last year.
I think they just take their chances in the offseason. And again, hey, you decided during the summer that you were going to take this chance and run it back with your guys. And everybody is waiting for somebody to say, fine.
Yep,
I'll take
exactly.
it.
Yep.
And the Raptors are waiting for the Kings to say, fine, we'll do it. And the Kings are waiting for the Raptors to say, you don't want to lose them for nothing. Say, fine. And we're just stuck in the middle. Yep. Got to get to a break. When we get back, continuing the conversation about the Kings on the court and also off the court. I got sources. Sources say we'll be back in a minute. Stiles and Watkins, Sactown Sports.
Trying to find out where to catch your favorite team's games?
Are you a fan of the Kings, Niners, and the NFL?
Well, Sactown Sports has you covered.
Touchdown! San Francisco! It's all on his shoulders. Cox rocks. He fires for the win. He's got the triple.
Catch all your Kings, Niners, and NFL games all year long on Sactown Sports and SactownSports.com.
With no fees or minimums and no overdraft fees, banking with Capital One is the easiest decision in the history of decisions. Even easier than choosing Charles Barkley in a pickup game.
We'll take Barkley.
Ha! First pick. Sorry, kids.
Yep, even easier than that. With no fees or minimums and no overdraft fees, is it even a decision?
Okay, here's the plan. Pass me the ball every time.
This is banking reimagined. What's in your wallet? Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com/bank for details. Capital One NA, member FDIC.
Progressive knows we're all trying to save right now.
Hey, at least we're still enjoying baseball on a Saturday night, right? Even if it is T-ball. Yeah, but tickets to the majors are just so expensive now. And who knows, maybe we're seeing a pro in the making. Sure, in like 20 years.
How is he safe? Boo! This ump stinks!
The ump is only 14. We don't really do that.
Oh, my bad. You're doing a great job, ump.
Progressive offers you savings without sacrifice. So save big when you bundle home and auto. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Not available.
Murmurs, sources, reports. So you still think something's going to get done, Chris Watkins?
I have to. Yeah,
you have to. You don't have to.
I have to believe it. Like the Kings have been, especially Harrison Barnes specifically, has been rumored to be traded at the trade deadline. I'm not joking. It's been at least 4 years running now. And I've always been screaming, I feel like, that he's the guy who needed to go. I never felt like he was to the correct level of competency in which the Kings were trying to get to. And I have to believe it's going to happen this year, because I've never heard this many people practically begging for Harrison Barnes to get traded. And, I think it makes sense to move on from Davion Mitchell, who clearly is not in this team's future plans. I would like to see Kevin Huerter stick around, honestly. I think I've said it a couple times, but if he can return to the form that he's just been in his career, I don't even need last year's Kevin Huerter. I just need Atlanta Hawks 12 points a game, 37% from three Kevin Huerter. That's almost like getting an additional guy via trade anyway, because Kevin Huerter's been not himself all year long. Yeah. So I'm cool with trading Harrison Barnes and Davion and maybe a pick to get something else. I just think you have the assets. You have you have many needs. And also, I mean, you're a good team. Like this is what good teams do. You got to try and take a risk and make your team better. You can't just be the same team you were last year and hope for different results. I mean, that's what Steph said the other day, pretty much is that's insanity. You can't run out the same exact five or pretty much the same rotation you threw out last year in the playoffs and expect anything different than a first round exit, in my opinion. At this point, from the information we've seen this year, I mean, maybe I would feel differently if they were getting contributions from Chris Duarte, if they were getting contributions from Sasha Vezenkov, but I all of the major moves they quote unquote major moves they made this offseason haven't really panned out for him at all. So we're stuck. I say stuck, and I don't really mean stuck, but essentially, I mean, at this point, we're with the same guys that we rode into last year's playoffs with. Maybe even with Terrence Davis was had a pretty crucial role. Davion Mitchell's not even in the rotation than he was last year. So it's a more depleted rotation than it was last year.
Yeah, there's a couple ways to look at when young guys get in. And, I love my San Francisco Giants comparison because when the Giants, when they pulled up one guy, two guy, you thought, okay, yeah, we're ready to see
in terms
these
of last year with the young guys. Yeah.
We're ready to see these young guys.
Oh, Patrick Bailey, you see this?
Patrick Bailey, okay, wow. Casey Schmidt, yeah. Then there was a couple guys that weren't necessarily high draft picks and, not top prospects.
Sure.
I'm thinking, why is he up again? And it turns out that the team just wasn't very good. And that is where I'm getting to when you are working with, no disrespect whatsoever, but if Keon Ellis is getting legitimate minutes.
He was not supposed to play this many games this early in the season.
JTA is getting legitimate minutes. This is a good story, and I'm happy for them. But that also means that you're not where you're supposed to be.
Yep.
Kobe Jones, I would kind of put in that category as well.
Yeah.
So that's a problem.
Absolutely.
Okay. And I understand why everybody wants to talk trades. I'm not saying we're not going to talk trades on the show because that would be crazy. What I'm saying is that we know what it is. We know what I think we understand the value. Maybe that's the issue. What is the Harrison Barnes value? Mm-hmm. I think the Raptors make sense if you're going young. You have that. I know we make a lot of jokes about Harrison wear a suit Barnes, but at the same time, I think the Raptors could use a guy like that, play him for a couple years, and then usher him on out of there. Usher be doing the Super Bowl as well. Can't wait to see that.
Shout out
Ursher, baby. So to me, it's a very specific situation. It's either Toronto or it's Washington. And again, they got problems out there. They're stealing from Target. They got a lot of issues now. Technically, Ryan Rollins was not on the team anymore. The last team, he got released about a week ago and started stealing from Target. So there seems to be some issues there. You got Denny and Poole. There's a weird beef, but then sometimes they're cool. So just send us Kuzma. Harrison will get you out there before it's time for taxes to make sure everybody does their
Harrison
taxes
Barnes in
correctly.
DC is crazy.
Yeah.
Y'all are just jump-starting a senator career at that point.
That's a great point.
Come on.
I'd vote for Harrison
Going
Barnes.
from California's capital to DC, to the nation's capital. Dude, that dude, I'm telling you, man, first track, that's a first ballot senator right there. Absolutely.
So you got to get something done. If you lose tonight, like you said, you're basically in the play-in.
Yep.
All right.
Yep.
And that's why, look, Chris Watkins earlier on in this season, okay, when you lost to the Rockets and you lost to the Pelicans, oh, that's okay. It's blah, 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 blah. Is it still okay, guys?
I was trying to tell y'all.
Is it still okay that the Kings have tricked off game after game? How about they lose tonight and it would be respectable? You play 2 games and you play in a team in the Suns who might be starting to figure out. How about that Hornets game? That one starting to haunt you yet? How about that Blazers game?
That Philly game's already hurting.
That Philly game, but again, at least they're a top team
without their top player. Though.
Without their top player, that Celtics game without Tatum, I know they're still legit, but you didn't even show up. Okay, here's the thing, Chris.
Kings have lost 3 of their last 5.
We got to get to a break, but if you think about it, the Kings have tricked off a lot.
Yes.
They've tricked off a lot. They've gotten some good breaks here, and they have not been able to take advantage.
Sure.
And we're going to break those down, and hopefully they can shut me up tonight and get a W against the Suns trying to become a big 3 out there. But the Kings, what is their best win this season? What win has convinced you that the Kings are actually going to be a contender? Maybe they have one. Maybe they're still looking. Stiles and Watkins, Sactown Sports.
The 49ers earned the NFC's top seed.
On the first play of the game, CMC Dynamite.
Join all of our shows. The Carmichael Dave Show with Jason Ross, Stiles, and Watkins. And the Drive Guys as they follow their quest for a 6th Super Bowl title.
Pressured right away by Young and sacked by Eric Armstead.
Sactown Sports is your home for San Francisco 49ers football.
San Francisco!
You own a truck because you want to get the job done right. TruckSmart is your work truck headquarters. For over 35 years, they've been outfitting trucks for leading construction firms, service providers, and municipalities in the region. Truck racks, toolboxes, lighting, commercial shells, rhino lining, they've got it all. And their expert installers will get it done right the first time. So visit the truck experts at TruckSmart today with locations in Rockland and Auburn. They'll make your truck your favorite tool. TruckSmart.com. Start your 2024 grilling season right with a new lifetime warranty Napoleon Prestige line of outdoor cookers. The Napoleon P500 series gas grill will turn you into a grilling pro. Napoleon Prestige grills, versatile grilling for every occasion. Form, function, and luxury can come in the same package. Just go to your local Green Acres Nursery and Supply for the best selection today, or visit Napoleon.com for a dealer near you.
It's Carmichael Day with a Fire Wings announcement. The Floor and Road location now serves pizza, and oh my goodness, it's so good. Don't forget the Wings Day Wednesday lineup, 88-cent wings every Wednesday. You got 21 delicious flavors to choose from and the perfect fast casual eating establishment for the entire family. Save time and order online. Go to firewings.com or download the app. Find a location near you, order online, and earn rewards. Fire Wings, just wing it.
The PGA club fitters at the Hagen Oaks Player Performance Studio know that golf should be fun. They also know that players of all abilities will hit the ball farther and straighter, play better golf, shoot lower scores, and have more fun if they get fitted before they purchase golf clubs. Hagen Oaks delivers the same technology and major brands used to fit PGA and LPGA professionals. See how the game can be even more fun. Hagen Oaks Player Performance Studio fittings are available 7 days a week. Make yours today by calling 916-808-2531. That's 808-2531.
Have you ever envisioned having $500,000 in advertising to conquer the remodel market, but felt overwhelmed at the thought of going it alone? Now you don't have to. Join Subcontractors United and share your advertising with 2 other contractors in your trade. Get $500,000 in advertising for only $1,042 a month. We are so sure this will work that we're giving away free advertising until June 2024 to qualified contractors. Visit subcontractorsunited.com today. The Arnold Law Firm has seen how an injury can turn anyone's life upside down. Whether it's a slip and fall, a car accident, or any other kind of injury. For almost 50 years, the Arnold Law Firm has been here to help you through the entire process to protect you and your family. If you are ever injured or in an accident, call the Arnold Law Firm. The Arnold Law Firm, providing real justice for you since 1975. Call 916-777-7777. That's 916-777-7777.
It's time to buck up, Sacramento. The professional bull riders are back. PBR Sacramento Wrangler Long Live Cowboys Classic will take over downtown's Golden One Center this February 2nd through 4th. 3 huge nights of edge-of-your-seat bucking, featuring some of the biggest bulls and toughest cowboys on the planet. Tickets are on sale now at Ticketmaster. Get your tickets for a weekend of non-stop bucking action this February 2nd through 4th.
Sacramento's premier music festival, Country in the Park, is back. 2 big ol' nights, May 17th and 18th at Cal Expo with Brantley Gilbert, Dustin Lynch, Walker Hayes, and more. Today, GA tickets are on sale now starting at $85, or upgrade your experience with VIP or pit passes. Country in the Park, May 17th and 18th at Cal Expo. For more information, visit CITPFest.com. Brought to you by Oak Ridge Winery.
Live and local. Live and local.
This is Sactown Sports.
Will they get it done tonight? The Kings taking on the Suns. Is this a third meeting? Fourth?
I think third.
Third. They're 2-0 against the Suns. The first time was no KD. Second time was no Bradley Beal.
December 8th and December 22nd.
Yes.
You went to the second one, right?
That's
Alex?
right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Was that the no Beal?
That was no Beal.
So you got to see KD.
Got to see KD, and
Oh,
now
that was the Malik dunk.
That was the Malik dunk. Went viral.
I heard people were seeing you in the Lexus Lounge too.
Yeah. No,
I just heard that, dude. That's what people.
I got a
texting
taste
me.
of the good life. I
Yeah.
got a taste of the good life.
Whoa.
I got to live that life, and it was a good time. It was a good time. So hopefully it's another good time tonight in Phoenix with the Kings taking on the Suns. And you get this one. You'd be 3-2 on that road trip, and okay, a pretty basic road trip.
Yeah.
You beat the teams you were supposed to beat, and you lost to the teams.
Call it a business trip.
Yeah, you lost to the teams that maybe you had a chance against, but I would say I think the Kings would probably favored without Embiid. I didn't see
They were not. No, even then.
Wow.
Philly was still favored.
Well, there you go.
Rightfully so.
So, if you're wondering about tonight and how the ties are changing for the Kings, the Suns are favored by 4 points tonight.
Wow.
The over-under is 243.5.
Boy.
Yes, a lot of offense
Lot of
today.
points.
But yeah, I would say a couple weeks ago, even with the big three, the Kings probably would have been favored. I think we're still waiting to hear back on Keegan Murray.
Yeah, I don't think we've heard anything official on Keegan. I would suspect that something will come out, some sort of injury designation will come out, but then of course we won't know officially until probably like 2 hours before tip-off.
Yeah, and we will be joined by Luke Lipinski from our sister station out there in Phoenix, co-host of The Wolf and Luke. That is at 1 p.m. to talk all things Suns. And maybe we'll ask him a question about the Cardinals and what he thinks is going to happen with Kyler Murray out there. Going back to the X and O's, and then I think we can kind of put a bow on this Bucs situation. But you had said that you didn't mind what they did in that last play.
Oh, no, I definitely mind. Yeah, no, I was not a fan of it at all. I didn't understand it at the time. They were hard denying Giannis on the inbound of that, where I believe Dame passed it in. He gave it to Brook Lopez. Brook Lopez immediately gave it back to Dame. And Dame, I mean, he had a full head of steam, got it to half court. De'Aaron was in front of him. I mean, the part that's not really talked about a lot, and I don't know how much it should be, but De'Aaron got blown by. Dame literally just hit him with a little bit of a stutter step, left De'Aaron in his tracks, and that's how he got behind him. Sabonis was at the free throw line at that point. You got to know at that moment, Dame's pulling up for that 38-footer. Like, there's no reason for you to be standing at the free throw line. That's where I think the basketball IQ should have set in. Like I said, Lopez is the one that Dame actually inbounded it to, so Lopez isn't a threat. He's at the half-court line. You can definitely double Dame at that moment, and you should be fine. I understand not wanting to foul, and I understand it's a little bit of heat of the moment. Your head coach isn't actually there to, I'm sure Jordy is absolutely screaming his head off on the sideline, but, everyone's not focused on what they're normally focused on, and, I think it was just a bad combination of things, but I don't even think it's hindsight being 2020. Absolutely. If you're down 2, or if you're up 2 and Damian Lillard's on the floor and the other option is give it to Giannis and maybe I saw Dallas do this yesterday. Actually, Dallas, I I think they played Atlanta, I want to say. It was but Dallas had 19 seconds left. They were up 3 and they fouled. If I were the Kings, I might have done a similar thing in that situation where, yeah, you're up 2, but just foul Giannis and play the free throw game. And then here's this game on the line, just a blanket statement, game on the line. Would you rather have the Kings on offense or defense?
Offense.
There you go. How many times out of the week, out of 100 times, how many times would you rather see the Kings play offense than defense?
101.
Probably 101 times, right? So in that moment, I don't know. Maybe if Mike Brown's in, maybe some different things happen. Again, Jordy's focused on maybe 4 or 5 different things that he's not usually focused on in that moment. Timeouts, rotations, adjustments, all that stuff. You know, if hindsight being 2020, I'm letting Giannis get that inbounds pass. I'm letting him take 2-3 dribbles, maybe see if Giannis is going to take a 3. If Giannis is just going to go straight head down, going towards the rim like De'Aaron did at the end of regulation, just foul him and take your chances. I mean, that dude's a 70% free throw shooter. Yep. You just saw your boy Malik. Well, I guess at that point, no, at that point he had already missed the 2 free throws. Why not play the free throw game at that point? And I know, it's a scary proposition. Maybe you end up getting the game tied at 142, but it's better than the result that ended up happening. So
I just don't understand it. I also don't understand the, I guess, reasons behind why they blitz sometimes and why they don't. Going back to the Sixers game, blitzing Maxey, getting burned over and over again. I'm just not really sure what their philosophy is on this stuff.
I mean, I think in general, it's if there's a guy that we feel like can single-handedly beat us, let's make the other people beat us first. But I mean, I don't know. It's kind of blitzing is always one of those things. Even in football, it's the term blitz. Like, you know, sometimes when it works, you look like a genius, and when it doesn't, it looks obvious. Of like, okay, you're giving up tons of open threes. Why are you doing it? So I think it's one of those things where you got to put it in the game plan or don't, and whichever side you do, you got to live with the result, because I think there's pluses and minuses of both. But I don't have an issue in the Philly game when Joel Embiid isn't playing, trying to make someone else besides Tyrese Maxey beat you. The problem is that boy Tobias Harris had time that day.
Yeah.
And I don't necessarily flaw the logic there. And then in that Dame situation, like I said, I think Sabonis probably should have blitzed in that moment, but I understand why you wouldn't initially just say, if Damian Lillard touches the ball, blitz, because you don't want to give up an open 3 on the last play of the game. Giving up a wide open Malik Beasley 3 in the corner for game, that's you got to
think that's worse?
Yeah, absolutely. Malik Beasley's like a 45%. You're just not playing the numbers at that point. Like Malik Beasley's
okay. What about Lopez though?
Lopez is a great 3-point shooter. He splashed the one before. He's the reason why that game was close in the first place.
Well, I think the problem is they didn't really do either, right? They didn't blitz, but they didn't really contest Dame. That's the problem.
Sure. I mean, but also, to the Paul George thing, like, that's not a great shot either. I mean, like, you're not going to expect, like, how many people are, I mean, you can expect Dame to take a game winner in that moment, but you never, again, I think Sabonis should have stepped up, but how many people are really always thinking, this dude's about to take a 38-footer and I should contest that as hard as possible? Like, at some point, it's, I think De'Aaron in that moment where I said he got blown by, De'Aaron's got to be better in that moment. And we've talked about it. If De'Aaron always says he wants to be the guy guarding the best player in those moments, well, and I'm not saying this wasn't the case on that night, but should it be De'Aaron in that moment when he's made this huge comeback for his team to even be in that situation? Should he be guarding somebody for game? Or is that, again, a problem with the rotation that the Kings have, that they don't have another guy? And I think that's what they liked about Chris Duarte. They don't have a guy that they can put at the point of attack defending, especially with Keegan out as well in that game. I think that there's a lot of reasons why that shot ended up being took, but I at the end of the day, the dude hit a 38-footer, and if that's how you lose a game, sometimes that's just how the cookie crumbles, and it's not great. But again, there's some positives that I can take from that Kings game, much more than I can take from the Philly game. So beggars can't be choosers, I guess. I'll take a close loss and see some positives, and of course get a learning lesson over them just getting absolutely destroyed on Friday.
Yeah, if they come out tonight and they're rolling and Kevin Huerter's hot, it's, hey, had to sacrifice a W, but
There you
Kevin
go.
Herter
Yeah, exactly.
is rolling again. If they make all their free throws, that's not happening. But if they make all their free throws, hey, we learned our lesson.
80% free throw
maybe
shooting
it's the
team
last
the rest
time
of the
they
year.
will miss a free
Oh
throw.
my gosh.
Will be in Milwaukee. Got to get
At
to
this
a break.
point, just miss them all.
You're just right. Just if you're gonna be be historically bad.
Yeah,
crumble.
Yeah, crumble.
Just
make crumble cookie for both.
That's right.
Both sides.
That's right.
Okay?
Got to get to a break. When we get back, which win for the Kings would you call a signature win? Or do you think they still need to get one in order to believe that this team can go the distance? Stiles and Watkins, Sactown Sports.
The NFL's leading rusher plays here.
And a handoff to McCaffrey, walks in the end zone. Handoff to McCaffrey, takes it right down to the goal line. He does his thing again. McCaffrey goes in motion right. Backwards pass led by Juszczyk. A block there. Hurdles a man. 10, 5, touchdown! CMC!
You can hear all of Christian McCaffrey's touchdowns on your home for 49ers football. Sactown Sports.
Hello, Sacramento. I'm Emran Pilati, owner of True Sports Cards and Collectible Store here in Rockland, California, and the host of the True Sports Cards Show that airs right here on Sactown Sports 1140 every Saturday from 10 to 11 a.m., where we discuss the latest trends, hottest products, and deliver exclusive interviews with other industry leaders. And don't forget to visit our shop, True Sports Cards, at 6661 Stanford Ranch Road in Rockland and see what we have for all your sports card and memorabilia needs.
With RT Painting, our name says it all. We are a reliable and trusted commercial and residential painting company serving the Sacramento area since 1998. Employee-owned, our attention to detail is second to none. Put our decades of experience serving our community to use for you. Get a free quote today. Call us at 916-900-8112. That's 916-900-8112. Or go online to rtpainting.com. That's rtpainting.com. RT Painting, your trusted and reliable painting contractor of choice.
California's largest sportsman's expo is back, Thursday through Sunday at Cal Expo. Bring the family and discover your next adventure. Buy the latest gear, find the best destinations, learn from the experts in fishing and hunting. On the weekend, visit the Giant Youth Fair. Free entry for youth 15 and under. Your life outdoors at the International Sportsman's Expo, Thursday through Sunday at Cal Expo in Sacramento. More info at sportsexpos.com.
Carmichael Dave here for my good friends at American Energy Heating and Air. Right now, American Energy offering $0 HVAC diagnostics. That's normally $99 for nothing. Let the American Energy team test your system, connections, and all the moving parts of your system to ensure it's functioning properly. Let me say that again. $0 to get your HVAC diagnostic-ted. That's not even a word. That's normally $100. Making the uncomfortable comfortable. That's what American Energy does. That's what they've done since 1981. Been serving the greater Sacramento area since then. A+ with the Better Business Bureau. Call today to schedule your appointment at 916-520-9990. That's 916-520-9990. Do it before January 31st or go to AmericanEnergyAir.com.
Call 916-520-9990 now.
I was in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean when it happened. There was a sudden jolt and our submarine crashed on the seafloor. We were in total darkness.
That's Dr. Dejana Figueroa, a marine biologist and STEM teacher, talking about a deep sea dive she'll never forget.
It's funny, when I was a kid, I was afraid of the ocean. And there I was, 2 miles below the surface. But as a scientist, you prepare for that. Using our training and a little creativity, we fixed the sub and finished our experiments. The dive was just too important. Every dive gives us glimpses at things few people ever get to see. Glowing creatures, fiery undersea volcanoes. When we got back to the surface, I kissed the ground and called my mom, of course. But you know what? I wouldn't trade that dive for anything.
Dr. Figueroa uses her passion for STEM to discover new things and make the world a better place. She can STEM, so can you. Check out She Can STEM for more stories and inspiration. A message from the Ad Council.
Guys, want to lose weight, improve your performance, and increase your drive? Revive Men's Health can help you make it happen with our new cutting-edge weight loss medications like your favorite athletes and celebrities use. They're affordable and available now. And since your testosterone level has a direct impact on your weight and fitness, get a free T-check and free exam. Book your appointment today at Revive Sacramento. We know we can help you. Call 916-277-8599. That's 916-277-8599. Or visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com.
Get a great deal on your new Silverado at the Maida Chevy Silverado Superstore.
Great selection, great factory financing and incentive.
And great Maida Chevy savings on every new Silverado in stock.
Online at MaidaChevy.com. Together, let's drive.
Sactown Sports. Check us out on YouTube. Search Sactown Sports and subscribe.
Stiles Watkins, Sactown Sports, taking you up to 2 p.m. A little later in the show, we will get into the fine that has come out for Coach Mike Brown. And it wasn't a small amount, $50K. So that will happen a little bit later on the show as we break down the best win for the Kings. In about 15 minutes, we'll hear from Luke Lipinski of Arizona Sports, our brother-sister station in Phoenix, from the Wolf. And Luke, happy that he will get to join us, and we will talk some Suns and maybe a little bit of Cardinals and Kyler Murray. So the signature win, Chris, that conversation. Well, you thought that last season's signature win was against the Clippers.
Yeah.
And that was in February.
Yes.
So that's not to say that they necessarily need one now, but I do think you have a win that makes you feel like, okay, these guys are rolling. And I think, to your point, maybe it does have to happen, let's say, at least in the new year. So I don't know how fair this conversation is. It might be a little hard to have a signature win in November or December. There's just so much of the season left, right? But if we were to pick one,
I mean, 39 of 82 is just about halfway done. So, you know.
Yeah. So you have OKC when they won that game without Fox. You have the Warriors in season game to go to the knockout round where they came back from, it felt like 20. And then you have the double overtime game against the Magic. Those are the three that we came up with off the top of our heads. My retort to, I guess, some of them or all of them would be OKC without Fox at that time. I don't think we knew how good if you did it now, I think it might be looked at a little bit differently, but I'm not taking anything away from them. Warriors in season, that was just a really good win. I think the only thing taking away from that is that the Warriors just aren't very good.
Yeah.
Right.
And yeah, the Kings were also down 20 at that point. So if you want to say what's the most character win, I would probably say that one probably shows the Kings' character
win for sure. Yeah. For sure. And then the Magic double overtime game, that might have to be it, because you had a team in the Magic who were playing out of their mind. I mean, you talk about a game you were supposed to win. We're talking about that for the Kings in Milwaukee.
Yeah.
A game like this, the Magic are never going to shoot like that again. And you didn't even get a W off that. So that might be up there. Those are the only three I have, or I'm just going to go ahead and say that I don't feel like they've had a signature win yet.
Yeah, I would probably lean more towards it just hasn't happened yet. But if I had to pick one, and it is, I didn't realize it was this early in the season. That OKC win to me probably feels like the one that they're most proud of because of, I mean, how great De'Aaron has been this year and how bad they looked without De'Aaron and how bad they've looked in this stretch where De'Aaron hasn't looked like himself. So I would say a win against, I think OKC is number 2 still. Yeah, they're number 2 in the Western Conference. To get a win against them without your best player and then to get it again later on in December as well, I guess I would probably pick that first OKC win. But even then, I'm looking at it, that was the 8th game of the season. Mm-hmm. So if you've gone 30 games pretty much and haven't had a big statement win since then. I mean, and they have, like you said, the Golden State one and the Magic one definitely are up there, but I don't think they've had really a win that just really plants the flag on my faith in this team is secured, because I know if they're able to reach that level of play on that night, well, then there's no excuse for them to lose to any team. And to me, that screams that Clipper game last year. To me, that Clipper game was the game where everyone fully realized, oh, if this team's hitting on all cylinders, which both teams were hitting on all cylinders that day, if this Kings team can show up in the playoffs for a couple times, look out, because I don't know if there's a team that can do what the Kings just did in that Clipper game. I don't know if anybody else could perform like that last year, and it hasn't felt like they've had that win yet this year.
From C Business on the Sac Chat, this is one that really did slip through the cracks here.
If he's going to say Memphis,
at Minnesota.
Possibly.
There was no Keegan in that game, if I'm not mistaken.
There was
Did he
no
just
Keegan,
come back? Yeah.
and
that was their first loss at home, Minnesota.
That was Minnesota's first loss at home. It was forgotten because it was the day after Thanksgiving as well. So, I mean, at least from our perspective, we didn't get to talk about it until I think the next Tuesday. So maybe
Who didn't play? Somebody didn't play for the T-Wolves.
I know Cat didn't play in the second. Oh, Jaden McDaniels didn't play in that game either.
He's not part of the big three, though.
That's a pretty big piece of their defense, though. Like that, Jaden McDaniels is going to be first team All-NBA, all defense. So not having him is pretty major for that team. But even then, again, I don't think
win.
It's a good win. It's
Who's
definitely
the Jaden McDaniels on the Kings? Who's the?
They don't
equivalent?
have one. That's the
there's
problem.
no equivalent.
That's the problem.
Defensively,
Keon Ellis.
No, I mean, even then, it's like
who would you take out of the Kings lineup that would affect the Kings as much as Jaden McDaniels?
I mean, it's a bit like taking Malik out of the rotation offensively for what Jaden McDaniels does for them defensively.
Yeah,
is I would say like Sabonis is clearly the biggest. Like if you remove that piece, everything goes to crap. I wouldn't say it's quite that bad because they still do have Rudy Gobert, who's been a part of just tons of the best defenses in the NBA. But yeah, I mean, he's definitely a close second in terms of what he's able to provide and what it means for the totality of that team.
Yeah, I think the issue is you can kind of poke holes in a lot of the Kings' quote-unquote big wins.
Absolutely,
okay? Now, Jaden McDaniels, I don't think a casual hooper would think about it the same way, but I'm not taking that away from the Kings, but I see a lot of people, this is another game that we didn't mention, bring up the Nuggets. Now, to me, what's more important, beating the T-Wolves without Jaden McDaniels or beating the Nuggets without Jamal Murray? I think both of them have holes. Both of them is, okay, well you did this. Right?
In my opinion, that's why the OKC one's the best win, because the Kings were the one who were at the disadvantage in that game, and there was no excuses, and Keon Ellis was in the starting lineup. Keon played great. The rest of the team played great. I think I saw Kevin Huerter had 28 points in that game. So, I mean, to me, that game definitely, to me, I mean, it frankly probably would have been Milwaukee. I think Milwaukee would have been.
It would have,
that's the most that this team has looked like the team of last year.
Maybe it's my fault. Maybe we could put it on me.
Shout out Akon.
You can put that blame on. That was pretty good.
Exactly. That was good.
I've done it many times.
Akon and Gus.
I had a tweet drafted.
Uh-oh.
So maybe it was on me. I had it drafted.
Dang.
I had the all caps. Yeah. I had the meme.
Win of the season. What it's.
I had it all. Let's see if I actually still have it in my draft.
Talking about win of the season, though, Chris, in the pre-show, you mentioned that Kings didn't get their signature win last year until February,
That's
right?
right.
Was
Late
that the
February.
Kings Clippers?
Yeah.
I think that's important when looking at this to not get too down on the team.
So
For sure.
this was going to be such a banger of a tweet.
Oh, here we go.
It says best Kings win of the season in all caps, and then I have them segmented off. Drama, coach ejected, then a check mark.
Check.
Sabonis shows up against the bigs, a check mark. Fox in the clutch, a check mark.
Clean.
The return of Red Velvet, a check mark. And then I have a video to go with it, guys, and I'm going to do this here live on the show.
Okay.
I'm going to delete it.
It's dead.
It's done.
It's dead.
And maybe it's my fault, and I literally did it.
Dang.
And I said, Alan, should you wait to make this? Obviously, I didn't post it.
Yeah.
It's good on you to not post
but
it.
here's the
Obviously,
thing,
it would have
and
been a lot worse.
And I know that, you've been rocking with the Kings your whole life,
Too long.
and I'm still becoming part of the fold here. But here's the thing. Am I the only one that felt like that was going to happen? Is that the worst part of the L? That you knew Dame was going to take a
that's
shot.
Kings basketball.
You knew Dame. You knew that was going to happen.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
and it's Dame. It's not a random guy either.
Dame has killed the Kings his
yeah.
entire career.
Yeah,
That's what burns to me. We all knew as fans that this was going to happen.
Yeah.
But as players, you didn't think to try and just not let it be that guy.
Yeah.
I will go back and forth with you, Chris. You give Lopez that open three and you lose. I know this is super hindsighty. I know.
You can't give people open looks for Dame. You just can't. You can't give people open looks for Dame.
What about when Curry early in the season missed that game winner that we all thought was going in against the
in-season
Kings?
tournament game.
I think we all felt the same way that night, right?
Yeah. Even game one last year.
Happen, though.
Game one last year when Steph took that 1-footer.
Oh, yeah.
It felt like that one was going in.
This year, I for sure thought that. I mean, I was in the building too, maybe a little different.
Sure.
But I was like, this is going in.
Yeah,
this is going in. Even from the weird angle we're at, I was like, well, that was fun, I guess. They won it. Draymond gave us the ball. He gave us a chance.
Yeah.
Malik had the crazy shot. Here comes Steph.
Beamer, Beams, or Beamley, it's Dame. I'm okay if Brook was left open at the end as well. I'm telling you. But it's hindsight. Hindsight's 2020.
It's not. It's just you can't leave guys open for game. Like not Brook Lopez. Like it's one thing if you leave. I don't know. I'm trying. Let me think.
I don't know if Brook would have got it off in time with that slow release.
Stop it with Splat. I will take no Lopez twin slander on my program.
Why?
Okay?
You're a big Lopez guy?
The biggest Lopez guy.
Why?
The biggest because they're nice. Brook Lopez, no
nice
one
people.
talks about this. Brook Lopez literally went, if you look at Brook Lopez's career, at the start of his career, this man was pretty much not playing like Sabonis, but he was all post. Like he was getting 20 points, 10 boards on those Brooklyn teams, backing people down, taking post shots, just killing it in the post. And then the man became quite literally the best three-point shooting big man in the NBA while also leading the NBA in blocks. Like the perfect modern big, and nobody talks about it. Everybody's just like, oh, yeah, they're funny. They attack mascots. Oh, they're twins and they're 7 feet tall.
They got a commercial
They're great.
right now.
They're hilarious. They love Disneyland.
Wow.
It's awesome. Get a Lopez in Sacramento. I've been trying to push this narrative.
We have a Lopez stand here.
Years now.
Chris Watkins.
Years now.
Got to get to a break. When we get back, we will be joined by Luke Lipinski, co-host of The Wolf, and Luke, Arizona Sports, to talk Suns. And is Kyler Murray going to be on the Cardinals roster next season? Stiles and Watkins, Sactown Sports.
The Sacramento Kings play here.
He's got the triple. Sacramento takes the lead.
Get your Kings fix all season long right here on your home of the Sacramento Kings, Sactown Sports and SactownSports.com.
Specialize in saving the day. And for the ones who've mastered the art of keeping business moving. We offer industrial-grade supplies for every industry with same-day pickup and next-day delivery on most orders. All backed by real people ready to help. So you can get the right answers and products right when you need them. Call quickgranger.com or just stop by. Granger, for the ones who get it done.
Folsom Lake Ford has trucks. The F-150s are here. Explorers, Expeditions, and a huge selection of Broncos and Bronco Sports. They're in stock now at Folsom Lake Ford. Shop Folsom Lake Ford, your truck headquarters, right here in Sacramento for your favorite Ford models at good, fair prices. Short on cash? Buy any new Ford with zero down. Save big with low interest finance rates. Plus, Folsom Lake Ford is paying top dollar for all trades. We want your vehicle regardless of mileage or condition. This could be the best time to buy a new Ford. Check out the huge inventory online at FolsomLakeFord.com or stop by the dealership and see the most recent arrivals. Looking for something special? Give them a call and tell them Doug Christie sent you. Folsom Lake Ford in the Folsom Auto Mall, your trusted dealer, my trusted dealer for over 30 years. FolsomLakeFord.com. 0
down with approved credit.
I'm Craig Ashton of the injury law firm of Ashton and Price. Whether you've been injured on a bicycle, as a pedestrian in a slip and fall, auto, Uber, Lyft, or big rig accident, you need Ashton and Price in your corner. When you call Ashton and Price, there's no chatbot telling you to hit 3 for accounting. You're greeted by a real live person who will immediately transfer you to an experienced attorney. The consultation's free, and there's never a fee until you win.
Remember, for the best advice, don't think twice. Call Ashton and Price.
I like daffodils, tulips, the big dinner plate dahlias. I loved being in the garden, but I wasn't going to be able to because I couldn't not only walk, but I couldn't really stand on my foot without being in pain. It was excruciating. So my husband said, let's go to the Good Feet store.
For over 20 years, we've helped people like Terry live the life they love without letting their feet get in the way.
This nice young man said, I think I can help you. He got the arch support and I was fitted. And I kept walking back and forth across the store. And I looked at my husband and burst into tears because it was the first time in a year that I have not had any pain in my foot. I have had no pain since the day I bought him. Now I can do whatever I want. There isn't any place on my property that doesn't have flowers blooming 365 days a year. I still can't believe it. My name is Terry, and that's my Good Feet story.
See what we can do for you with a free personalized arch support fitting at the Good Feet store.
For sore feet, aching back, knee, or hip pain, come to the Good Feet store in Sacramento, Roseville, or Vacaville.
Carmichael Dave here for Jiffy Lube, your proud sponsor of the Drive of the Game. Now listen to every Kings game for Gary Gerald's Drive of the Game call. Then listen to Jason and myself the next morning for a chance to win a $100 Jiffy Lube certificate, courtesy of all the Jiffy Lube locations in the greater Sacramento area. Get your vehicle ready for the holiday driving season at Jiffy Lube today. Oil changes, wiper blades, tire rotations, and more. For more information, go to jiffylube.com.
From the Power Business Technology Toshiba Studios, KHTK-AM Sacramento, KYMX HD2 Sacramento, the only station in Sacramento giving you local sports coverage from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Friday.
Sactown Sports.
Taking you up to 2 p.m. We will be joined in a moment by Luke Lipinski of Arizona Sports, co-host of The Wolf, and Luke to talk all things Arizona. And I'm actually going to talk to him too, Chris. I will be taking a trip to Phoenix, Scottsdale in March.
Really?
Spring training. Mm-hmm.
Just going to try and figure out the spots and all that stuff, or...
You know, I have some buddies down there, but maybe I'll link up with Luke.
I mean, I hear the golfing's incredible.
Oh, it is.
I mean, like, especially during March and stuff.
Yeah, we have 2 places booked already.
Really?
Yeah, 2 golf.
Months in
2
advance.
golf. I have to buy, honestly, I don't have a travel golf bag. I've been
Sure, right. I
avoiding
didn't even
it,
think about that.
but I think I'm finally gonna have to get it.
Got to.
Yeah, and just get it.
You can borrow my grandpa's.
Please, thank you. Can I
I'm
just
serious.
rent one? I literally just need one for this trip, but I ultimately
You probably could rent one, I would assume.
Yeah,
I'm not joking. You can borrow it.
Yeah.
We'll talk. We'll talk. We are joined now by our guy Luke Lipinski of Arizona Sports, co-host of The Wolf and Luke. Luke, thanks for joining us. We know you got your own show, so thank you for taking time out of your day to talk on our show from the brother-sister station.
Yeah, for sure. Good to be on.
So let's start here, Luke, with the Suns are 0-2 against the Kings, but the first time they played the Kings, there was no KD. The second time, there was no Bradley Beal. First time the Kings are getting a look at the Suns fully loaded. What has been kind of your takeaway from the Suns finally getting to see the big three?
Yeah, I mean, it's still a work in progress. They've played 7 games together. They played an 8th, but Beal got hurt after 5 minutes. So 7 games. They're 4-3 in those 7 games, but they have won 2 in a row. They finally have played the last 4 in a row. So, it's going to be a different look for the Kings tonight, obviously seeing the big three, but from the Suns' perspective, we're kind of waiting to see, what's going to happen here from down here too, because you're right, 0-2 against the Kings, and Sacramento was clearly the better team in both those games. But the thought, if you're a Suns fan, was like, all right, but let's see what happens when all 3 of the main guys are playing. Mm-hmm. Now they finally are, so there's no more excuses.
Luke, and I was looking at the Suns' record really since the start of December is pretty much around 500. I think it was 11-10 or 10-11. Is that mainly just due to the inconsistency of the lineups? I mean, I can't imagine it's easy for Frank Vogel, who's in his first year, to kind of figure out all this stuff on the fly. Has it mainly just been not knowing who you're going to get every single night?
Yeah, I mean, for the most part it is, and that's what's been so maddening watching this team night in and night out. And I'm sure even playing for the team. It's certainly for Frank Vogel, like you just said, there's a long stretch there where it's like, hey, is something wrong with this team? Or is it just a lack of continuity? Because it's not even just the big three. Like, a lot of the bench guys have been in and out of the lineup, and they're in and out of the rotation when some of these guys are and aren't playing. So, like I said, it's still a work in progress. Nothing is like set now, but you mentioned their record since the start of December, and that's true, and they struggled there for a while. They're 7-3 in their last 10, and there's actually been a little bit of a thought/hope, whatever, from down here that the game against the Lakers 2 games ago was maybe a turning point because they were pretty much fully healthy, and they were able to beat the Lakers for the first time this year. And, they've only played 1 game since then, but they're 2-0 since then.
Talking to Luke Lipinski of Arizona Sports, co-host of The Wolf and Luke. So, Luke, what is the vibe down there as far as trades and the trade deadline? You might be the only team that hasn't been associated with Pascal Siakam. Up here, we're just tired of hearing about it. What do you think the Suns do at the trade deadline?
Well, if it makes you feel any better, in years past, the Suns have been associated with Pascal.
There you go. There you go. It's inescapable.
The thought, Chris Haynes mentioned this on the TNT broadcast against the Lakers on Thursday, that the Suns are really more intent on trying to find an athletic wing than they are a point guard. And the point guard conversation has been going down here for a few years. It's certainly going now, but I do tend to believe what Chris is saying there, that just kind of the way the Suns have built this, that they maybe aren't going to prioritize even adding any help at point guard, because their thought seems to be, if we've got Kevin Durant and Bradley Beal and Devin Booker, we don't need a point guard. If we don't have all 3 of those guys, we're not going to win a title anyway. So I actually tend to believe what he's saying, even though it kind of flies in the face of conventional wisdom. Athletic wing would be great. I'm assuming pretty much every playoff team would like an athletic wing, so we'll see if they can pull it off.
Yeah, I mean, we'll take one over here in Sacramento too. I think the thing too that's you kind of mentioned it with the Suns bench. They don't really seem to have many more trade pieces to have. And so do you see this team, honestly, I don't want to say skipping out on the deadline, but do you think that their focus might be more so on the buyout market? I mean, we've seen teams who tend to have these stars and not a lot of cap space available really try and attack the buyout market. You just haven't really heard many buyout candidates this year, but is that maybe the route the Suns are going to go?
I think it's certainly a possibility because, with the trades, they don't really have picks left to trade, not anything of significance. And so most of the players they'd be able to trade are guys that they got to kind of come here on maybe a little bit of a better deal to play with Durant, Booker, and Beal. And a lot of those guys are only on 1-year deals anyway. So, I mean, chances are if you're trading those guys, you're trading them to other playoff teams.
Right.
So you're not really getting what you want from them. So I think they'd like to trade. But you're right, the buyout market has to be, it absolutely is going to be on the top of James Jones' priority list. And, it's not like they need a ton that they can realistically get. I think their best chance of improving to the point where they're a title contender is just guys getting to play together and sort of, developing some chemistry beyond just Beal, Booker, and Durant.
Talking to Luke Lipinski of Arizona Sports, co-host of The Wolf and Luke. And Luke, we both have gripes going on here about the All-Star situation. No Sabonis in the front court for the Kings. No Devin Booker for the guards as far as the fan voting. What are your thoughts on the fan voting aspect? Obviously, it's only 50%, and a lot of these guys will get in anyway. But can you explain why you think he might be in? We're not really sure why Sabonis isn't in. We know that, in the playoffs last season, it didn't do great for the national narrative, but the whole small market thing's gone out the window because people seem to love Oklahoma City Thunder.
Yeah. The fan voting thing, I get why they do it. I'm maybe coming at this from a different angle than a lot of people that cover the Suns, but a couple years ago, there was a lot of hand-wringing about why Devin Booker wasn't an all-star. And, I got it, but I also was looking around and saying, hey, some of these other guys that are getting guard spots in the Western Conference are pretty amazing. And ultimately, I want Devin Booker healthy and ready to go for the playoffs anyway. But this year it did kind of hit me differently, especially when those first returns came out and he wasn't even in the top 10 among Western Conference guards, because then it's like, I thought this guy broke through. And even if he's not going to start, or even if he doesn't make the team because there's a ton of good guards again, but when I see fans don't even have him in the top 10 among Western Conference guards, and Kevin Durant at that point had 1.8 million votes, that's his teammate, and Devin Booker didn't even have 170,000. It was so glaring. It made me think that there's that people just don't like Devin Booker around the league.
Yeah, no, it's confusing, but just tell you, I know you, I don't have to tell you, you're telling everybody out there, go out there and vote. Luke, before we let you go, let's cross over here into some football, because what a mess with how everything went down this weekend in the NFC East. And one name that I brought up, or we've been bringing up, is, look, the Cardinals, they have the 4th pick right now in the draft. Kyler Murray, do you think he's in a Cardinals jersey next season? What do you think they ultimately do out there, the Cardinals and Kyler Murray, with this QB situation?
Yeah, I think they stick with them. My belief coming into the season was, for me, the only way I wouldn't have stuck with him is if I ended up with the 1st pick and Caleb Williams had another, Heisman caliber season, even if he didn't win it. And it's not like I have a bunch of questions about Caleb Williams. I think he'll be good. I don't know that he would want to play for certain teams, and that would be a concern. But the Cardinals can't get him anyway. So if you're moving on from Kyler Murray, I think he'd be a lot more tradable than people thought, because there's a lot of teams that need quarterbacks. But the problem is, if you move on from him, who's your quarterback? I don't want to take, Jaden Daniels or JJ McCarthy or whoever and basically start over there. And more importantly than what I think, Jonathan Gannon loves the guy. Kyler has really responded well to JG basically since day one. So I think their best move is to stick with him and hope Marvin Harrison Jr. is there at 4.
Luke, I actually have one quick question on the Cardinals as well. I remember last year in that survey that the Athletic released that polled tons of players and I think coaches as well. The Cardinals finished last in a lot of those categories. Was that a big talking point this year at all? And has there been any effort to try and fix those rankings at all? Make the situation better. There was crazy reports of some of the situations that were happening there. Just kind of how much of a conversation has that been in Arizona?
It was a big conversation when it first came out, and if I remember right, that survey is supposed to come out every other year now going forward. So it will be interesting to see where they rank in some of the areas that we don't necessarily see as media members. Whether it's the cafeteria or the training room or whatever. But when that came out, it was in the middle of just such a mess in so many different ways for the Cardinals that it's not that it wasn't talked about. Trust me, it was quite a bit. But the focus at the time was like, can they rebuild this culture that has just become an absolute disaster at that point? What are they doing as far as with Kyler Murray? Does he want to be here? There were so many other questions. Those ones that were more outward questions, like are they willing to move on from Steve Keim and Cliff Kingsbury and make some good hires? Those have at least been answered in a pretty good way, and Kyler's responded pretty well to it as well. So I can't speak to all the specific elements of the survey, but I can tell you the optimism around this team it felt to me like it was at an all-time low last year at this time, and it's at least going in the right direction now.
Luke Lipinski of Arizona Sports, the Wolf and Luke. You can catch him on our brother sister station. Luke, thank you so much for taking the time. We will do this again soon.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Got to get to a break. When we get back, Mike Brown has been fined. Did he deserve the amount? We'll discuss. Stiles and Watkins, Sactown Sports.
You never know what you might hear when listening to a Sacramento Kings game.
Out of Keegan, going for another triple. Man, is he feeling it. Keegan, can he do it? Yes, there's number 11, Keegan Murray. Keegan steps back. He just knocked down his 12th three-pointer, a Kings franchise record. He's got 45 points.
Never miss a moment of Sacramento Kings basketball with Sactown Sports and the Sactown Sports app.
I'm getting vaccinated with Prevnar 20, a Pfizer vaccine.
So am I, because I'm at risk for pneumococcal pneumonia.
If you're 19 or older with chronic conditions like asthma, diabetes, COPD, or heart disease, or are 65 or older, you are at increased risk for pneumococcal pneumonia. Ask your doctor or pharmacist about Prevnar 20, pneumococcal 20-valent conjugate vaccine. It can help protect you against pneumococcal pneumonia in just one dose. Even if you've already been vaccinated with other pneumonia vaccines, Prevnar 20 may help provide added protection. Prevnar 20 is approved for adults to help prevent infections from 20 strains of the bacteria that cause pneumococcal pneumonia. Continued approval may depend on a supportive study. Don't get Prevnar 20 if you've had a severe allergic reaction to the vaccine or its ingredients. Adults with weakened immune systems may have a lower response to the vaccine. Side effects include pain and swelling at the injection site, fatigue, headache, muscle, and joint pain. For full prescribing information, please call 1-855-213-2138 or visit Prevnar20.com.
Live and local. Live and local. This is Sactown Sports.
Thank you to Luke Lipinski of Arizona Sports, co-host of The Wolf and Luke. You can catch them on Arizona Sports. Thank you to Luke for spending some time with their brother station out here in Sacramento. He thinks that the Cardinals are going to keep Kyler Murray, so they need help. I don't know really the ins and outs of it. I just know they stunk.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming you trade. You could probably still get Drake May at 4. They probably going to trade that pick. If you're keeping Kyler Murray, you're trading that pick. I would assume.
Feels a little backwards, doesn't it, to like build from the quarterback out? Like, wouldn't you? If I'm building a franchise, I would much rather get a solid offensive line, get a good receiver, and then get a quarterback. Like, to me, you're working backwards if you're getting the quarterback. And then, I mean, look at Bryce Young this year. Like, was this year productive for Bryce Young? I mean, he did get snaps. He got thrown in some really bad situations, but is he going to be better for that next year?
Yeah, it depends on how far away you think that the team is. And I don't think that the Cardinals think they're as far away as the Panthers. And Bryce is
I don't see how the Cardinals turn this thing around.
They have to feel that way because Bryce is starting from scratch.
Right.
So you can grow together. You're right. Kyler is a bit established, and he's on a big contract already.
Yeah.
So you got to get guys, and depending on what you need, right, how long does it take an edge rusher to get acclimated?
Right.
How long does it take? And I think maybe that's part of it. Hey, a lot of these guys can turn it around pretty quickly here.
Sure.
So maybe that's what it is. But very interesting. I thought
Makes
for
it a
sure,
lot more fun if Kyler's available, doesn't it?
It does.
You know, you can throw him on so many teams and still have a lot of questions.
Yeah, but maybe that's the kind of the perfect spot for both of them.
Yeah,
I know Kyler's
honestly.
from Texas, like we discussed, but I don't know if he could handle those bright lights and maybe it's just a perfect spot for him. All right, all guests and callers join us from the Folsom Lake Honda Hotline. Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop. Let's get out to Dale, who wants to be a part of the conversation. What's up, Dale? You're on Stiles and Watkins. What you got?
Hey, Stiles and Watkins. Thanks for taking my call.
No problem.
Of course.
I've got Kings talk.
Love it.
All right. So I talked to you guys the other day, actually, about 3 days ago before football happened over the weekend.
Mm-hmm.
And, I spoke about, trading for Siakam or trading for anybody. And I've reorganized my thoughts. I don't understand what the hesitation is in putting Malik Monk into the starting 5, right? Because if you put him in the starting 5, now what you have to do is trade for another spark plug off the bench, which will be way cheaper than trading for a star because Malik Monk is already a star.
Yeah. No, thanks for the call, Dale. It's the conversation that we've had time and time again. Is it easier if you feel like Malik and really it's, do you think Malik is that good?
Yeah.
Right? Malik is an elite spark plug off the bench. Like we said, I believe he is a championship level spark plug off the bench.
Yeah.
Is Malik a championship level 2 guard? I don't know.
Yeah.
I just don't know.
I also kind of disagree with the thought that it's easier to replace Malik just because he's a bench guy. I think what Malik does coming off the bench is extraordinary, and it's hard to find an extraordinary bench player. Like, to me, back in the day, people weren't saying throw Bobby Jackson in the starting lineup instead of, which is kind of what we're saying now. Right now, people are saying throw Bobby Jackson in the starting lineup instead of go out there and find a Doug Christie. To me, I don't want to say it's easier to go find a Doug Christie, but to me, if you already have this guy excelling in his role, I don't want to take him out of that role. It sounds like we found the perfect spot for him. I think what the real problem is there's a hole at the 2. To me, it's a lot easier, or it might not even be a lot easier, but it's at least the same challenge to try and figure out that spot than to figure out an elite bench player. I mean, there's only there's Tim Hardaway, you see Bogdanovic, you see Jordan Clarkson, you see Emmanuel Quickley, who's no longer coming off the bench. There's not many guys who do what Malik does every single night. I don't know if you necessarily want to lose that advantage of having a guy come off the bench and excel. But, we've also had this Malik Monk conversation 100 times.
Yeah, the way I would compare it, right? And the guys out here, Lou Williams, who we know he's on our bad side because he was talking about Sacramento.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that.
And the Jamal Crawford situation as well. And those guys, I'm sure the same conversations happened, but they just wanted to be in that role. I'm not saying Malik Monk can't be a starter, but I do think maybe the math is being done a little bit too easily. And just assuming that Malik is going to be as good of a player as he is in a starting role, I don't know.
Yeah.
And if you want to argue, hey, Alan, we don't know, so let's at least see.
Sure.
I'm not against that, right? Yeah. But I think that what would end up happening is, again, taking it back to baseball, as I always do, it's that closer role. And honestly, it's what the Giants are about to try with Jordan Hicks. It's that closer role who's been balling out as a closer. So now let's put him in the rotation. And the second time around the order, he doesn't got it like that because he's just better in spurts. So that's what I fear with Malik Monk.
Totally.
It's not apples to apples to just say, look at what Malik does when he comes in the game. Let's just insert that into the starting lineup and everything is gravy.
Yeah.
I just don't think it would be that simple. If the argument is, let's just see, and if it stinks, it stinks, okay, that's fine. And then somebody would argue, well, you could throw off their rhythm or whatever it is.
Yep.
I just don't think we'll ever know. And not to call it a moot point because anything can change, but out of all the things that Coach Mike Brown has moved around on this team, from Keon Ellis to Colby Jones to Chris Duarte, the one thing that man won't change is Malik Monk in the starting lineup.
Mm-hmm.
So it's almost as if we can have these conversations, but until Chris or myself or anybody listening to a pregame or postgame, until it sounds like he's even moving in that direction, it is kind of a moot point because he ain't going to do it. We got to get that cut, that Nick Saban.
Yeah.
Stop asking me. Because I'm not going to do it. It ain't going to happen. Until it even feels like he's willing to entertain it, that's where I'm at with this. But I do think if we were to discuss why won't he entertain it, I would say it's because of what I just laid out. Number one, you need somebody on that bench because the game is so long. And if Herter starts going again, then we're not even having this conversation.
Yep.
But number two, you can't just assume that Malik is going to do what he does in spurts. And I know he plays a ton of minutes, but in spurts, you can't just say that production is just going to go into the starting lineup, but more.
Yeah.
That just does. It does. I just don't think it happens.
I got nothing else to add, my friend. You laid it out perfectly. I'd
love to see him in
bars.
it.
Yeah.
I just want to see it.
You've been the one asking this question most, which is probably why you have such a great answer for it.
Because I've been here.
Yeah. No.
Now, I do want him to win 6 Man of the Year for
of course,
personal reasons.
Yeah.
But as a team, I think that this team, if Herter can get cooking again, ultimately this team is best suited. If he's not going to get cooking and you need to look for answers somewhere else, I've also said you can have Trey Lyles in it, but some people want to play the best lineup, and it's taken conversations with Chris and as well to say, hey, if your starting lineup, if your closing lineup is this, why wouldn't that just be your starting lineup? It's just different. It's just different, and you have to you have to try to, everybody doesn't work the same way.
Yep.
Kevin Huerter is a rhythm guy. He's got to get into rhythm. Maybe he never gets into rhythm. Well, then sit him on the bench, right? But they will.
There's nothing else you can do.
And the same thing with Harrison Barnes. Now, the Harrison Barnes thing is different because at least you know Huerter can get hot.
Yep.
Harrison Barnes, the dull Swiss Army knife. We don't know what he's there to do. We just don't. Harrison, please, we're trying to figure out what you are here to do.
Yeah.
All right, got to get to a break. When we get back, Mike Brown and his $50,000. Are you serious? I'm not happy about this, okay? It's too much. Stiles Watkins, Sactown Sports.
Harrison Barnes plays here.
Harrison Barnes drives it, hammers it. The Black Falcon soaring into the night sky on a Monday evening in Northern California.
Sactown Sports is your proud home of the Sacramento Kings.
Big savings are back at Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop. Looking to own or lease? We have options for everyone. Plus, lower interest rates at Folsom Lake Honda make for lower payments. It's no wonder Folsom Lake Honda is your one-stop Honda shop. Get an instant cash offer for your trade at FolsomLakeHonda.com. We'll buy your car whether you buy from us or not. Visit us today at FolsomLakeHonda.com.
Folsom Lake Honda, yeah, your one-stop Honda shop.
Hey, it's Carmichael Dave for my good friends at Fire Wings with some bullet points for you to remember so you can be a professional fire wing eater. Like Wings Day Wednesday, 88-cent wings each and every Wednesday. 3 flavor lineup includes 7 classic wing flavors, 7 dry rub wing flavors, 7 fusion wing flavors. It's the perfect fast casual eating establishment for the entire family. Go to firewings.com or download the app, find a location near you, order online, earn rewards. Fire Wings, just wing it.
Sacramento's premier music festival, Country in the Park, is back. 2 big ol' nights, May 17th and 18th at Cal Expo with Brantley Gilbert, Dustin Lynch, Walker Hayes, and more. 2-day GA tickets are on sale now starting at $85, or upgrade your experience with VIP or pit passes. Country in the Park, May 17th and 18th at Cal Expo. For more information, visit CITPfest.com. Brought to you by Oak Ridge Winery.
Have you ever envisioned having $500,000 in advertising to conquer the remodel market, but felt overwhelmed at the thought of going it alone? Now you don't have to. Join Subcontractors United and share your advertising with 2 other contractors in your trade. Get $500,000 in advertising for only $1,042 a month. We are so sure this will work that we're giving away free advertising until June 2024 to qualified contractors. Visit subcontractorsunited.com today.
It's a myth to think you don't play golf well enough to get fitted for golf clubs. The professionals at the Hagen Oaks Player Performance Studio would argue that playing the game with golf clubs properly fitted to your body and swing characteristics is the best way to improve your game and have more fun on the golf course. With a professional staff of fitters, all the major brands of equipment, and cutting-edge technology featuring TrackMan, the indoor-outdoor Hagen Oaks Player Performance Studio is worth a look. See for yourself, Fulton Avenue at the Cap City Freeway. Schedule your fitting at 916-808-2531, 808-2531.
Sactown Sports is home to the Kings, Niners, and now the business of sports. Hosted by Kelly Brothers and brought to you by Cap Trust, offering customized, independent financial advice at captrust.com. Join Kelly Brothers, Carmichael, Dave, and Jason as they look at the business of sports every Thursday at 7:40 a.m. You want to know how sports really work? Follow the money with Kelly Brothers from Cap Trust on Sactown Sports. The Arnold Law Firm has seen how an injury can turn anyone's life upside down. Whether it's a slip and fall, a car accident, or any other kind of injury. For almost 50 years, the Arnold Law Firm has been here to help you through the entire process to protect you and your family. If you are ever injured or in an accident, call the Arnold Law Firm. The Arnold Law Firm, providing real justice for you since 1975. Call 916-777-7777. That's 916-777-7777.
Sactown Sports. Check us out on YouTube. Search Sactown Sports and subscribe.
$50,000. Goodness gracious. Coach Mike Brown for a laptop. Really? Really? Before we get into how egregious that is, in my opinion, we got to take it back and we got to hear from Coach Mike Brown. And this is a clip. I know a lot of you have probably seen the meme already. So we have about a little under a minute clip because he went for a while. So we just want to give you a kind of listen to what he was trying to show. And there were no cursing.
No.
Okay. Really didn't say anything negative about the refs. He just said, I'm trying to figure out the rules. So here is Coach Mike Brown.
I know David Guthrie and Brian Forte, great guys, great officials. I don't really know Inte well, but he seems like a good guy, and they're human and they all make mistakes. And I just want to, Dip, let me see that, man. I just want to show you guys why I got kicked out of the game right here. This is in the first. This is in the third quarter with 1:28 left to go in the third. And right here, you can watch. Go back and watch. Fox barely puts his hand on Dame's hip. Okay, incidental contact. He didn't push him or anything. He barely puts his hand on there, and they give him 3 free throws. Now, at half, we were down, I think, 19-5 in the free throws. 19-5. And I know that happens sometimes, but that's very frustrating when at the end of the half, from what I get told all the time, Malik drives, Lopez comes over and goes vertical with a forearm down here. Now, from what the NBA tells me, the rule is if you go vertical, you got to have 2 hands up.
So he goes on, he breaks it down, and look,
sure does.
At first I thought that, oh wow, this is going to be more than Darko, but and that is the head coach of the Raptors who had a lot to say last week. But the more I thought about it, I was actually a bit surprised. I guess my question to Adam Silver would be, what is he getting fined for?
Mm-hmm.
Because
props.
For props?
I have no idea.
Right? Because Darko literally sat there and said, if y'all need the Lakers to win because the NBA needs Los Angeles and LeBron to win, then we won't show up.
Crazy.
That got 25. That was $25K. He said that, bad job, $25K, if basically alluding to, okay, the Lakers needed to win tonight and we happen to be on the other side. $25K. Coach Mike Brown literally is just looking for answers, right? He doesn't say, oh, you needed Giannis and the Bucks to win because they're, Giannis is one of the faces of the NBA. Doesn't say any of that. Nope. Just ask questions about what's going on, brings out a laptop to explain why he got kicked out. And he got fined $25,000 more than Darko. I think that's pretty crazy.
It's definitely pretty crazy. And I don't
well,
know.
Actually, hold on. Sorry. He's getting fined for pursuing, it says.
That's what I was going to say.
He's getting fined
that makes
for
way more sense.
Yeah.
Because Brendan asked me about that yesterday when they did the show. If I thought that, him charging the referee would add to his, Brendan was wondering if there was potential suspension possibility.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't think so, but this is definitely the counter to that is they're just going to fine him double the fine because, I didn't think that what he did was that egregious, but I guess you can't run on the floor. And I think I did see Pat Connaughton tripped over Mike Brown.
Yeah,
as
it
he
was pretty bad. It was pretty bad, man.
What did you do? I didn't feel like Mike Brown, I don't want to say wasn't serious, but I think it to me felt like a performance, his ejection. Not necessarily saying in a bad way, but I think it was very Mike Brown probably said to himself, I'm going to get ejected.
Kings are 3-0 before that when he was ejected.
Maybe, but the only reason I would push back, and this is from
Malik was laughing.
Brendan
also.
Nunes.
Him laughing as he's pulling.
Yeah. Toronto head coach Darko Rajakovic was fined $25K for his recent post-game press conferences. So I'm assuming this is Brendan. So I'm assuming Mike Brown is getting fined $25,000 for aggressively pursuing a game official, then another $25,000 for publicly criticizing the officiation. That makes sense to me.
Yeah, that makes more sense.
That makes a lot more sense to me because I'll tell you what, it was aggressive. And I think that it might have been a performance at some point, but I think he found himself in a bad spot when he got on the floor too quick and ran into a player.
Yeah.
That's bad.
It's not great. Yeah. At that point you could say safety concerns.
Yeah.
Like what if
he turned his ankle? I don't even know
what
what
if
they
he
do.
hits his knee or whatever.
I don't know what the league would have even done. That's not good.
Yeah. No,
I don't think that was a performance, But I think once he got lost in the sauce, he was. I'm out of here.
Yeah, no, to me, it felt strategic. Even, kind of told on himself a little bit there. Like he said, this is Dame, third quarter, end of third quarter, this happens. He doesn't end up getting ejected until I think the 9-minute mark in the fourth quarter. To me, it was, again, very strategic in the sense of, at that point, fourth quarter, 9 minutes to go. How much coaching are you really doing? How much, the last 5 minutes are pretty much decided by the players anyway.
Blitz Dame.
Kind of felt like a bit, he's like, I've taken this game as far as I can. We're starting to lose the grips a little bit on this game. Let me get kicked out. Maybe it'll spark some energy. I trust Jordy will do anything.
If it happens one more time, I'm losing it. That's what he's probably said to himself.
For sure.
If they do this to Foxy one more time and it doesn't get called, I'm losing it.
Yeah.
And then I think
it was the campaign little screen,
the
and
little
he
chicken
grabbed
wing.
his hand there. I get it. It was it's whatever. Coaches do it all the time. It's super unfortunate for Mike that he lost so much money doing it.
Yeah.
Because honestly, if I were Mike, I'm like, this is y'all's fault. This is, for sure he's blaming it on the officials. But again, I think this is more just Mike Brown. Again, too, what has Mike Brown been talking about for the past month? Internal leadership. What's the best way to force internal leadership? I'm out. I'm out. Y'all fix this. Y'all figure this out. It's on y'all. I'm going to go watch from the locker room, and I'm going to need you guys to talk amongst yourselves and figure it out. It was all a coaching move to me. It was all planned and all thought out, premeditated from Mike Brown.
So it was a
and he had clips ready. He had 2 clips back to back ready.
Yeah, it was a combo number 5, or should I say number 50,000. And here is the NBA communications note. Sacramento Kings head coach Mike Brown has been fined $50,000 for aggressively pursuing a game official during live play and for publicly criticizing the officiating. It was announced today by Joe Dumars, Executive Vice President, Head of Basketball Operations. Brown's actions took place during and after the Kings' overtime loss to the Milwaukee Bucks, January 14th.
It sucks, man.
Half and half,
$50,000, like. How does that work? Does he he has to pay that by Friday?
But I am really curious now.
That's terrible.
Yeah. I am really curious now if he didn't aggressively, if he just got a normal kick out.
Yeah.
I just want to know how much they would have charged him for bringing out the laptop.
Yeah.
That's what I want to know.
Probably 25. I think it's safe to say 25 because like you said, he wasn't insinuating match fixing like Darko was.
But Darko got 25.
He did get, well, that's why I feel like he probably would have still gotten that 25, and then it's probably 2 separate violations. And I don't know. It's he definitely got his money's worth out of it. That's for sure. And it was great to get.
I was scared.
It's great to get the meme too. That meme's gonna live on for a while. That's gonna be like the Patrick Beverly showing the referee the camera. Same energy there. So at least he got his money for it.
I'm already cooking up a Photoshop. The Kings take down the Warriors. I got
with Mike Brown.
I just think it's a Photoshop that's going to live forever.
It's an
easy one.
Let me tell you, I cooked up a couple of them and they hit easy. Okay, it was good. Me convincing my girlfriend at 10:30 to get us Taco Bell. Mike Brown pointing at the screen, doing all of his things. It's easy materials.
It really is. All right, before we get to crosstalk, it's time. For the dog segment. And the dog segment
we do that. I forgot
is sponsored by Could Be You.
Could Be You.
Give us a call, 916-339-1140, and Nate will take care of you. They really need to get back on the winning side of things.
Yeah.
2 losses over the weekend.
Back to back.
I'm waiting for a huge De'Aaron Fox game. I feel like we haven't had a huge, and he played well late in Milwaukee, but a banger. I feel like we haven't seen a banger De'Aaron Fox game in a minute. I'm tempted. Another Kentucky matchup.
It's a good time.
Well, there's just 8,000 Kentucky guards in the NBA.
That's true.
I'm going to.
They've got no point guard over in Phoenix.
No point guard. They're trying to do it. I think one of the athlete podcasts were saying that's the problem with the Suns. Stop making. Maybe they're. You know who's available? Kyle Lowry. Kyle Lowry to the Suns.
Someone in the chat said
that's
that
not
too.
a crazy
Really?
pickup for the Suns, I feel like.
No, any problem with the Suns, though, is going to be, again, what are they shipping off? Like, they shipped off
Watanabe?
everything at this point. Yeah, if you're Miami, I don't know. Do you want Chimezie Metu back? I'm good. I just don't know how. I don't know how Phoenix gets better. It just feels like, they're pretty hamstrung unless they're going to move on from Grayson Allen, who's honestly been pretty good for them.
Who's behind Nurkic?
They play Chimezie Metu. Metu. They've played Bol like a handful of games.
Why do you just say Eubanks too? I think
Eubanks. Yeah, Eubanks definitely gets in there. They really don't have a good answer there.
I'm going De'Aaron Fox tonight.
I want to go Sabonis. I really am not a fan of Nurkic at all. I think he's pretty soft.
We know.
Sharman soft.
We know.
Sharman could be the sponsor.
Could. It really could be. It's tough. I want to go Keegan, but we just don't know if he's playing or not. I think he's still a game time decision. You know what? Let's keep the Herter heater going.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say Kevin Herter. Give me 20 plus again. Give me 3 plus threes for Kevin Herter. 20 plus and 3 plus threes.
You know, when he gets hot, he gets hot.
He gets hot.
I think that's
in the Valley. Come on.
Yeah, I think that's a great
pick
there in the Valley. Nate, who you got? Who's your dog?
Ooh, in the Swampy Valley. Who's my dog? That's kind of what I was asking about the backup behind Nurkic, but I think I'm just gonna go with Keegan. I think Keegan.
Right.
You think Durant's gonna be on him? Is that how that works?
Probably.
Yeah. If he's gonna play.
Book. Yeah. Well, Keegan, we're still figuring out if he's gonna play tonight.
Be so sick to see Keegan torch one of those guys.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm gonna will into existence here. I a lot of people made fun of me for taking the Packers over the Cowboys. Which I did. And,
actually, yeah.
And, and that's fine. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to will Keegan Murray into being a dog.
There you go. We got Keegan Murray. You had Sabonis, right?
No, I ended up going with Kevin Herter.
Kevin Herter, the Herter heater. I'm seeing on the Sac chat, they're taking Sabonis. Sabonis is going to eat tonight. He always feasts against Nurkic. And I have De'Aaron Fox, Beamer, Beams, or Beamly with Malik Monk. We will be back with Crosstalk. The Drive Guys, Stiles Watkins, Sactown Sports.
Check out the Golf to Go Hour with Frank LaRosa every week on Sactown Sports. Get the latest on equipment, area courses, people who play the great game, and plenty of good conversations about golf. It's the Golf to Go Hour every week with Frank LaRosa on Sactown Sports. Golf to Go is brought to you by the Hagen Oaks Golf Super Shop, America's most awarded golf facility. Naturewood Home Furnishings, where it's all about choices and always about quality.
Get deals on what you need during MVP's bonus days at Lowe's. Right now, save $250 when you buy a DeWalt 12-inch sliding miter saw and adjustable stand together. Plus, save $710 on an LG kitchen suite and earn 3 times the bonus points on all LG appliances. Because Lowe's knows savings, Lowe's knows pros. Selection varies by location. While supplies last. Discount taken at time of purchase. See sales associate for details. Bonus points calculated before tax and fees after applicable discounts of any. Valid 1/15 to 1/26. Subject to change.
Wendy's new breakfast 2 for $3 Biggie bundles let you create your own delicious combo. Choose from a sausage biscuit, egg and cheese biscuit, small seasoned potatoes, and a medium hot coffee. But it's obvious which combo's the best. Sausage biscuit and small seasoned potatoes. Well, maybe it's the fresh cracked egg and cheese biscuit with a medium hot coffee. Or 2 savory sausage biscuits. Whichever you pick, you can't go wrong. Choose wisely. Choose Wendy's new 2 for $3 Biggie bundles.
Limited time only. U.S. price and participation may vary. Not valid in a combo. Single item at regular price.
It's time to buck up Sacramento. The professional bull riders are back. PBR Sacramento Wrangler Long Live Cowboys Classic will take over downtown's Golden One Center this February 2nd through 4th. 3 huge nights of edge-of-your-seat bucking, featuring some of the biggest bulls and toughest cowboys on the planet. Tickets are on sale now at Ticketmaster. Get your tickets for a weekend of non-stop bucking action this February 2nd through 4th.
Folsom Lake Ford has trucks. The F-150s are here. Explorers, Expeditions, and a huge selection of Broncos and Bronco Sports. They're in stock now at Folsom Lake Ford. Shop Folsom Lake Ford, your truck headquarters right here in Sacramento for your favorite Ford models at good, fair prices. Short on cash? Buy any new Ford with 0 down. Save big with low interest finance rates. Plus, Folsom Lake Ford is paying top dollar for all trades. We want your vehicle regardless of mileage or condition. This could be the best best time to buy a new Ford. Check out the huge inventory online at FolsomLakeFord.com or stop by the dealership and see the most recent arrivals. Looking for something special? Give them a call and tell them Doug Christie sent you. Folsom Lake Ford in the Folsom Auto Mall, your trusted dealer, my trusted dealer for over 30 years. FolsomLakeFord.com.
Golf to Go is brought to you by the Hagen Oaks Golf Super Shop. Here's Frank LaRosa.
In the shag bag, if you want to become better at golf, maybe consider moving to the southern parts of the United States. According to the USGA, 8 out of 10 states with the lowest average handicap are situated either along or near the country's southern border. Lowest handicap is Mississippi with an average of 11.6. California comes in 35th with average handicap of 17.1. Where do you fit? Want to gain another 20 yards off the tee? Move up another set of tees. Don't let your ego get in the way. Each of us can only hit the ball so far. If you're not reaching the par fours in 2 shots, go ahead and move up a tee. You'll make more pars and a birdie or two, and your enjoyment will go up twofold. Meredith Lebeck, Director of Player Development at Granite Bay, says you can sharpen your putting skills by playing a game similar to horse on the putting green. Each person putts with the person closest to the hole winning and the others in the group getting the first letter, such as a G in the word golf. Spell golf, and you're out. Try it. That's your Golf to Go. I'm Frank LaRosa.
Imagine taking a nice warm bath in your shower. Let's fix that. Right now, get that clogged drain unclogged for just $67. Plumbing, sewer, electric, heating, and air. Bonnie.com. Some restrictions apply. License 696-355.
Sactown Sports. Call or text at 916-339-1140.
Kyle Shanahan said that he started preparing for the Packers in the second quarter. Just a little bit of shade there from Kyle Shanahan to the Dallas Cowboys. And why not get in where you fit in if you are the Niners or Niners fans? You should be feeling really good about it. Whitey Gleason joins us of the Drive Guys. Whitey, I mean, I don't know if you are a Super Bowl or bust type of fan or type of sports person. I feel like you're not, but at the same time, maybe get to Super Bowl or bust, right? Maybe you get there and you got to face Lamar or Josh Allen.
You better win the Super Bowl.
Who knows?
Yeah, at this point, you better win the Super Bowl.
Okay, so you're with us.
Yeah,
you're with us. Okay, this is what I love to see.
They really, you're because at some point, you can only say, well, that window's still open for so long.
Yeah.
So the whole key to this game, though, is Green Bay is very poor at defending other teams' backs in the passing game. So this is like the worst possible matchup for them, right?
Yeah.
They're really poor at that. But if they can keep the ball, if they can keep the 49ers offense off the field, they got a chance to make it close.
Yeah, I thought that what Jordan Love did was impressive, but again, I don't know what that's going to look like against the Niners defense. And then on the other side of things, me and Chris were talking, one thing you never hear about with the Cowboys is how they just decided, going back to your note about the Packers secondary, the Cowboys just never decided to buy into a number 2 receiver. I just thought that was always weird. They went with, is it Brandon Cooks or Michael Gallup? I never really understood. You have such a good receiver in CeeDee Lamb, and the Packers just said, yeah, we're just not going to let you throw to that guy. And it was over.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think Tony Pollard truly let the Cowboys down this year, too. Yeah. Again, like the amount of hype that they had for Tony Pollard and the guy he was supposed to be. I mean, you weren't even supposed to realize Zeke was gone. And to me, I mean, they couldn't get it done in the red zone. Not that was the problem the other day, but I mean, if they have some sort of running game to lean on, how much does that help Dak and just get that offense into a rhythm? Because that's the other thing is you looked at that game at the end of the first, wasn't it 10-0 already? It's like, They put themselves behind the 8 ball so quickly, and then Dak was the only one who was able to pull them out, and you saw that he just put them further and further in the hole. So, it's definitely a combination of a lot of things, but I think, I mean, it's really shocking to me that they lose that game. Again, it's one thing to finally get to the test of the Niners and then not be able to meet that moment, but to not even get to that game is just it's insane, and I have no idea how they can run Mike McCarthy and Dak out there again next year. That's
Dan
insane.
Quinn's a loser too. Just
Sure
think
is.
if you're another team thinking, man, that gotta be a great head coach for us. Ooh, maybe not.
Yeah, you pack that on with the Super Bowl as well, and it's like I would like to interview more candidates.
And maybe it's a situation where there's a group with players. We've gone through the players that we grew up seeing, whether it's Tom Brady, Phillip Rivers, a lot of these guys. Hey,
Johnny Unitas and Mike.
Johnny Unitas, right? And these guys
Marco
are
Nagurski.
Drew Brees, all these guys. Okay,
Grandma.
we have moved on from them, and maybe we're at that point with certain coaches too. Like, is Mike McCarthy going to get? I'm still waiting for the post that says he's done. But is Mike McCarthy going to get another chance, or are we done with Mike McCarthy now?
I mean, he'll probably be a coordinator somewhere, if not on Fox. But I mean, I would assume probably not as a head coach. It'd be tough for him to. I mean, though he's had success. I mean, he's got a Super Bowl in Green Bay. You could attribute that to Aaron Rodgers if you want, but he even has had regular season success with the Cowboys. It's just I wouldn't trust him. I mean, if you're trying to win a Super Bowl, it kind of depends on what the situation is too. Like, he might make sense in a. Not specifically for this team, they've got a coach, but like in a Cardinals or Panthers situation where you're trying to get them out the mud into regularity. But, if you're trying to take a good roster and turn it into a Super Bowl, I don't know if McCarthy's your guy.
I can think of two teams right now that I know would interview him if he got fired today.
Who?
The Arlington Renegades and the Seattle Sea Dragons.
Yeah,
there you go,
man.
Here
Summer
you go.
Football. Can't wait.
Speaking of the Falcons, this is from Jeremy Fowler of ESPN. Former Patriots head coach Bill Belichick is interested in coaching, quote, a talented yet underachieving teams for his next landing spot. So do with that what you will. A lot of people are mentioning the Falcons.
Yeah, I think he completed an interview with Atlanta.
So you have the Falcons.
They got no quarterback.
And now it's just a list of teams. Somebody says the Cowboys. Somebody says the Eagles.
Right.
Somebody says the Chargers. So Bill Belichick is going to have his pick of the litter.
I say Cowboys.
I think he's going to. I have a buddy, and he listens to this show. Shout out my guy, Evan. He's probably listening now. And he told me.
Evan Giddings?
No, but shout out Evan Giddings is what we talk all the time. And I'm driving. I'm picking up my Fire Wings to watch the game. Shout out Fire Wings. And, of course, got my lemon pepper as well.
Show.
And we're talking on the phone, and he says, I'm telling you, Alan, we should have a shout-out tracker. How many shout-outs per show? So he goes, I'm telling you, Alan, LaFleur from that Shanahan tree. I'm telling you, Alan, the Packers won't just beat the Cowboys. They're going to smack the Cowboys, and Bill Belichick will be the next coach of the Cowboys. He's one for one so far. We'll see if he's 2 for 2. But I think that, it's insanity, and Jerry Jones might be looking at the mirror and say, fine, I'll take a back seat. We'll bring in a kind of a stronger-minded individual, and let's see if we can get this done.
Yeah. By the way, I guess we got the answer to the question we were throwing around Friday. Why would NBC do this thing with Peacock? Because the numbers were staggering.
Yeah.
So now they have something else they can sell, that package.
I did not watch
Peacock, and I couldn't watch. At first, I couldn't get it. I was going nuts.
What do you mean?
It wouldn't come on. It kept, buffering.
Oh, it was buffering?
Yeah, like, come on. Finally, I ended up, I think, third quarter, I got it on.
Really?
I'm trying to watch. Well, I was doing some other things, too.
Right.
Yeah. It was definitely a little glitchy.
Yeah.
It was definitely a little glitchy a couple different times. So, yeah.
Shout out all my streamers out there.
Well,
Did me well.
Yeah.
Did me well.
Shout out streamers. Couple more minutes left here, Whitey, as we
2-minute warning.
Switch on over to the Kings. Chris and I had a back and forth about, hey, do you leave Brook Lopez wide open and just get the ball out of Dame's hands? What were your thoughts on that last play in Milwaukee?
They weren't guarding either one of those two, were they? I mean, Brook Lopez got the ball.
Brook was at half court.
Well, sure. Or Malik Beasley, just get the ball out of Dame's hands.
Yeah, well, I think Coach even said that. If I remember correctly, in Anthony Slater's story, he said before he went on about the officials, Mike Brown said, "Yeah, we needed to blitz there. We needed to blitz Dame."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so but that's hard to do when a guy's a running start. But still, yeah, they didn't defend that very well. And still, the guy made a
what. I have a theory I want to throw by you. I've been workshopping it, so it's not perfect. But what do you think about? I was trying to, because it's not just Mike Brown, like you said. Darko the other day had this long rant about officiating, and I don't think Darko necessarily falls into this category. But what do you think about the fact that this theory that I have, that the real problem with NBA players, veterans, and coaches and versus officials right now is this. You don't have the old guard of officials who, there's the Joey Crawfords, the Dick Bavettas of the world who were in the NBA for 20, 30 years at a time. And, almost they're from the Stern era where it's not necessary, officials almost are their own character in the story as well. Where now you're seeing a lot of younger officials, a lot of first through fifth year guys who have come up in this new school of officiating. I mean, think about the differences of, just how school in general was for you versus me. I can't imagine how different the teaching is from Dick Bavetta's time as learning how to be an official to these new officials now. And there's just a disconnect between how the game has been called through. I mean, think about Mike Brown and how many organizations and teams and how many years he spent in the NBA watching the game officiated this one way. And now it feels like there's a whole new school of thinking, possibly because there quite literally is a new school of thinking.
Yeah, that could be contributing to the lack of consistency. Real quick, I was talking yesterday to a friend of mine. Its name is Bill Simmons. It's not the Bill Simmons that
Okay.
Bill Simmons.
Sure.
He used to officiate in the NBA briefly, and I haven't talked to him well. He says, I don't even watch the games anymore.
Really?
And he's lost interest for a number of reasons, I think. But he said, I watch a game now. And again, this is a former official. He said, someone go to the basket, get destroyed. There's no call.
Nothing.
At the other end, someone goes to the basket, someone grazes them, and then they're going to the foul line.
Right.
He says, I don't understand what's going on. That's a former official. So I do think there's, for whatever reason, maybe that's part of the reason, but it's just really inconsistent now. And if you're a coach going, come on, what's going on?
Yeah. And you can't say anything. I was, and I know half of it was the aggressiveness of on the court, but as far as what he said, I was trying to discuss with Chris, or wanted to discuss with Chris, what percentage of that fine was from actually just breaking it down? Because he's just asking questions, and if you can't ask questions, then
we don't have a show.
We don't have a show.
We should have said, I'm just asking.
Yeah, I'm just. But Mike went Alan Stiles there. I'm just asking a question. All right. Thank you to Nate. Thank you to all of our guests, Stiles and Watkins. We will talk to you tomorrow. Drive Guys up next with Whitey Gleason and Kyle Draper. Until tomorrow, secure the bag, light the beam.
The 49ers earned the